Yeah, I'm just surprised that the Swain didn't end up moving a little bit sooner. His now, Jana, no flash.
Heal, flash, auto attack, first blood. Froggy is the one to pick that one up, and Evelyn Bot is in the area. Descent does drop the Rift Guard. They're going to look to engage. It's going to be a Cataclysm getting dropped down, but Veigar got pulled into the Cataclysm, which could be trouble.
Ooh.
Down goes Evelyn Bot. Down goes the Veigar as well. Hugs Descent and the support on the one side, but they're going to be the ones to get engaged on. Ultimate coming out for the Malphite onto the Veigar, but the Veigar is still okay for right now. He's going to try to flash the rest of his team as Evelyn Bot is on the look. The Caitlyn was left all alone on the backside, and no free hugs is now left all alone with everybody else from Farmingdale.
That's game!
Both of them are level 4. No Zillion bombs are available right now, which means French Delta Force is going to be able to get in. There's the flash, but the flag and drag lands, and El Unicornio in a lot of trouble. French Delta Force not able to get the kill. That one's going to go over to Huracan. Veigar
he's
doesn't
dead.
quite know where he is. Has spotted him out. Here comes the Jarvan over the wall. Multiple members over the wall now as they're trying to get as much damage as possible. French Delta Force able to get the first kill. Now, bearing down on to the Xayah. They are going to get revived by the Zillion, but weak side. It just means they're a sitting duck to give more kills.
There's nothing. Yeah,
There
they
comes the
quite
ultimate.
literally.
Malphite getting in there on multiple members here. Weak side is now starting to join the fight here. Somebody's in stasis, somebody's resurrecting, but it doesn't just matter. They're just all meant to die to Veigar. It's a double kill for weak side, a double kill for French Delta Force. They get a kill back.
Leave the old man alone!
But they are going to be able to close out onto the Zillion. The cherry on top for Froggy and Farmingdale State College.
Holding on to this stock at 160.
Oh yeah, both of these guys are decently heavyweight. Gonna be seeing very large percentages. And the back ear from that fat mansion to take it right there.
I see it too. Oh, good forward air tipper there. Hope should be able to recover from this unless you get countered. Dags with a huge opener there.
But Splat says, listen, I need you to get right back off stage. It's nice that you want to get here. You gotta go.
And the block, I think, actually helped Splat there. Again, falling because the second hit of that.
I didn't get to show out last time the way I wanted to. I'll do it.
He's all warmed up now, but he will drop that stock this time around. Gordo up tilt, a week where they went to set number 3 and fell in that previous series.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Wow, what a down here. So that you can kind of slowly build up damage. And then your armored move will not connect with all the hits, so you won't get the kill. And then you die. Tries to go for a very early up B kill right there. And your shield looks like a Skittle, and that will be it. The force match should be able to take it and hope with the JV3 against Splat.
That I think if you can use Milk Command to shut down a B-Rush, you're pretty happy with that, especially if they're rushing right in. Mental Athlete catches 2, looking for more. Chris will not be outdone. Make it 3 for Mental Athlete. Yeah, that was more. You're more than happy with that trade.
And that means no KJ utility either, no extra peaks. And there's a quick trade down. Hookah wins between the Omens. It's Ummo and uh-oh for Mars Hill, as that's gonna be a Brooklyn College first map win. Players, just 1 shot left, probably 30 HP combined as Noodle gets traded. It's all up to Chris. Headshot necessary for Axite as he's trying to dance around the side, doesn't know where he's coming from. And Chris just barely secures it. I think 1 more second of stalling, and that's a Mars Hill round, so absolutely brutal. The concussion come through, flashpoints as well. This is an all-out brawl.
So much
ramp coverage. And everyone's here, and it's all looking good for Brooklyn, maintaining that weapons advantage, just rushing on in, and that's a flawless in this map point round. Suddenly surrounded, I think got shut down by a Rolling Thunder, and sure, Geiper's looking the wrong way, but that is a perfect defending half for Mars Hill for the win. Shot down, and that's gonna be an extra kill from the blast, and now it's just Geiper left after a flurry of kills. And no time to waste. There's too much on the clock. Lots of damage dealt, but only 1 taken down.
Trades on One on each. Knives finally come out, though. I could hear them. Didn't look like they caught anything, though. There's the flank. Axite with a stringer. Doesn't find anything now. But trades coming through. One on each. Chris continue to trade 2-2.
Oh,
coming down.
no.
Finally, the picks on Pixie.
Oh!
That's it. MHU stays alive.
Another moment where you're worried for him. As Polo Spring gets that first blood. 2 members left. We've seen August come alive when moments required, but now with worse weapons and not quite the angle. That is a 13-10 win.
And, well, we're already underway. That we are, and I'm just so happy to be here. Of course, it's going to be Kilo Miles leading in on all the action, and I am Captain Ahsoka, going to be your co-host and commentator for today. And already, before we can even get the introductions done,
however, when iTheta gets the hit, then it's Nick Jam popped into the air, and that's no good. Especially when you're knocked off stage. Nick Jam trying to recover, going high, but gets knocked out of the air by the forward air, swatted away. Can he get it again? Waits for the air dodge, but he misses the up B.
Already you can see Ken trying to get right back to work, but they're in the red. They're in the critical percentages. One solid hit, and honestly, from Ike, nearly every hit is solid, as that will just about do it. It's the up air to get the final stock. Oh, nice forward throw off of the edge. Not going to be able to confirm, though, as yet another final elimination goes the way of iTheta. And if I'm not mistaken, that's 3 up, 3 down. FSU take the dub.
Oh, Helix. I would have liked to see him press that because you can't get that height off the wall, and Mux is going to be able to take advantage of it. And I mean, we've seen flip resets, we've seen ceiling challenges, and we just get the basic old school air dribble to go right into the net. It's going to be Helix with the dribble away. Bumps 11 out of the way as well. That might be a goal. Helix over the top. Great downfield pass, and they're going to take advantage of the space created by this demolition. Able to get that one away. Helix going to get a pass back to the midfield, looking for Pancake. Going for the double tap. Squishy save attempt. Not going to be there. Here's Helix off the side, and a forced own goal once again. Concord's going to take the lead. And Pancake's not able to read that as Helix gets a monster dunk here. Can he turn around on it? He can. Helix.
Just realizing this ball's got to go somewhere and always knows. Now Matt Mux down bottom. Oh, brutal right there. Oxygen. Okay.
84?
82. My goodness.
Okay,
I could not have been farther off. Excuse me, folks. Excuse me.
As this one might find the back of the net, and it does again.
Boy.
ET, let's give him 4. You know, we're talking about everything else.
14 seconds, maybe in somebody's dreams. There's another goal down bottom. 7 score differential here.
Zarya choice that V-Snipes is sitting on is going to help bring St. Francis to victory, but already Ohio Northern is going to get into the bases. Millions taking out their counterpart, and Zephyr now looking towards any more targets to be found.
Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. 4x4 and RMC here with you for the first round of the ECAC Fall 2023 playoffs. RMC, we have got a banger in the 8-9. Of all these teams, you get a team like this, 3 wins, 5 losses. The records on the faces don't really, on the surface, maybe speak too highly of these teams, but I don't think that could be further from the truth.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that has to do with the format that we're using this split, that Swiss style, and that's why teams that have made it this far are incredibly competitive. But 4v4, let's talk a little bit about the teams, because some of these teams might sound familiar. We've got Team RPI Red coming up against the Army West Point Esports Black. And RPI Red, 4v4, they're the reigning champions, not a team I'd have expected to come into playoffs 3 wins and 5 losses.
No, but even then, right, like you said, things are not as they seem, right? This roster is not the roster that made it to CLOL finals, is it? We've only got 1 returning player, and that's in the mid lane.
Yeah, mid-lane AD carry, I think it was Exity who was playing. I'm going to be honest, I'm not completely sure if they've name swapped or things like that. But yeah, RPI Red, very, very different squad. A lot of new faces coming in. And for had the pleasure of, speaking to their manager, coach, Calvin, a little bit about this team. And he's saying that for this team right now, Fall, they're kind of learning each other's new habits as a new team. They're coming together right now. And it's been trial by fire. But they've been improving quite a bit. And to them, this is just yet another challenge they've got to overcome on their way towards nationals again.
And that's what they're looking towards, right? That was another thing you got from them is, look, at the end of the day, we are scaling towards something greater. And for them, look, it's all about momentum, right? Once you get into these knockout tournaments, right, there's no double a limb, but this is a best of 3. So it is do or die, but you do have that little bit of wiggle room. But going forward, like you said, RPI look like they are scaling and headed in the right direction. And sometimes it's not the team that's the best during the regular season. It's the team that gets hot at the start of the tournament. Into picks and bans we go. At RMC, these 2 teams have pretty defined, shall we say, points of strength and points of weakness, do they not?
Yeah, Army West Point, they've acknowledged as well that their bot side has had its struggles. Haben used to be the top laner for Army West Point last year and had to role swap to that AD carry position. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see a bit of a pinch to try and cover that bot lane a little bit. Big Wheel and Nailbird, that top jungle duo for Army West Point, has been the bright spot for this team. Nailbird, especially with the carry champion pool that he likes to pick up.
And there's that Zed ban looking like it is going to come through. Coco Lemon, right? I mean, he is, and I misspoke earlier. It is Haben that is the returning player, right? It is not, or rather, excuse me, no, Sesame Oil Salad. I got my sides mixed up there. He is a freshman, a Z1 trick that, excuse me, the Z1 trick is Coco Lemon. The ban is coming through because of him. I'm talking about like 3 different things at once. I apologize. I do have my stuff straight, but yeah, but the champion pool has been broadening. We've seen a lot of games of Syndra, especially, right? Look, if you're going to be a mid laner worth your salt, whether you like it or not, whether you are a Z1 trick or not, you are going to have to learn your control mages.
For sure, and you know what, I don't blame you for getting mixed up. There are a lot of, I don't want to call them one tricks, but a lot of unique picks that come out. We're seeing a Shaco ban, for goodness sakes, coming out of Army West Point. That's because Paradox plays Shaco. It's pretty disgusting. His champion pool involves other unique picks like Fiddlesticks that we don't get to see too often, and fingers crossed, I'm kind of hoping we see it, but to be honest, RPI has been making him play kind of safe. A lot of tree, a lot of vegetation. Ivor and Maokai has been his most played champions for Paradox in the regular season.
Well, in 2023, you are going to get a lot of mileage. If you just know those 2 champions very, very well, you can play quite a few different styles, right? With double AD carries, you know, it's not really being in the meta anymore, but having been in the meta, right? Having is just a way that you can play a little bit more dangerously through having a little more pushing power. The Jarvan ban will come in here. Nailbird not going to get to play that. And like you said, RMC, Nailbird and Big Wheel, that is the focal point. They are the straw that stirs the drink for Army West Point. And with a champion like Jarvan, maybe not quite as insane as he was a couple patches ago, but Graves, another champion that can pack quite the punch and carry champions. Nailbird is no stranger to these.
Yeah, if anything, J4, what's that? I never heard of her. It's all been Graves, Elise, Kha'Zix, Nidalee, champions that can do their own thing. So Nailbird still going with that comfort pick. RPI, though, going with the Orianna, a very safe, neutral mid lane. I was wondering if they would pick the Syndra, as you mentioned, for to kind of deny it away from Coco Lemon, but they're going with this safety pick, and I'm curious to see what jungler they opt to go with it. Something that can be that ball delivery system would be ideal. Rel could be it. I mean, it is a flex pick, could go jungle or support.
Yeah, it could go either way, but I mean, as far as a ball delivery system, that is about as lethal as it gets. I mean, I remember when I started casting kind of season 9, season 10, Ori Hecarim. Hecarim was just an absolute terror. Udyr as well, these champions that could just go in guns blazing. It will be Coco Lemon on the Syndra, his most played champion in the split so far. The other 2, Vlad and Pantheon. So talk about just a departure from your conventional mid lane champions. Yeah, this feels like definitely a coaching sort of thing of like, look, we've got to just settle you down, my friend. Xayah will be locked in here. Obviously loves the Rakan. Rakan is potent as ever, but doesn't necessarily have to go with that champion.
If anything, RPI can pick it here on R3 or later in R4. If anything, RPI, I want to see them pick their AD carry right here. There we go. Exity has excelled on range champions. Specifically, the more range, the better. Things like Jinx, like Caitlyn. If you want to dominate lane, you pick that Caitlyn. If you want to outskill, you go Jinx. And Jinx has always been such a great counter to Xayah, because Xayah can't get the feathers to pull in range of Jinx. She just kites you back with Rocket. So I really like what RPI have already picked. It's a strong team fight. It's a strong scaling team fight. The only thing they're lacking right now is frontline.
And RPI, they are that 8th seed, but by virtue of the tiebreaker that I'm not really privy to, because these two teams have actually not met in the regular season.
True.
So this will be the first time that they will be matching up against each other. Shen taken away as well. Again, could be support, but more likely in that top lane. And like you said, there's that Rakan denial by RPI. So RMC, if you've got it like you want it, okay, there's the Ornn taken away as well. So now we see kind of the compositions that they want to go with here. And I don't know. I mean, for me, I retract my initial question. I give you this second question. With Nailbird and Big Wheel being, again, a more potent topside, we were talking in the green room that, look, Ornn, sometimes at West Point, when Big Wheel's on the Ornn, they just kind of sit back, and like that lack of agency almost seems to be like paralysis by analysis, right? It's just, what do I do? I don't, I don't have the big gun in my hand. I can't go blah, blah. And now, I guess, it doesn't have that problem.
Yeah. Okay. So first, RPI, go into the Malphite. I like that. You needed a tank, and you banned the Ornn. So this Malphite works great as just a body to soak damage, as well as a great engage tool onto the backline of Army West Point. And for Army West Point, you're asking about Big Wheel. I'm looking at Camille, potentially if you want to win that matchup, or if you're trying to get on the Jinx, or for Yone or Yone specifically for Big Wheel is going to be massive. Just bypass the entire front line. It is open. But into the Malphite, that matchup might be a little bit tough in lane.
Yeah, this could be something that Golden Ninja really thrives on. Okay, looking like he will opt into it. Okay. So remember this pick ban after the fact, ladies and gentlemen, that Big Wheel did opt into this matchup. So we shall see here. And there's a lot of physical damage going into this Malphite here. Milio will be what the Jinx is paired off with. So it will, in fact, be Paradox on Rel in the jungle. And like you said, RMC, you've got a couple of really modes of reliable engage, a couple good ball delivery systems. You got some disengage with the Milio. This RPI composition, as far as team fighting is concerned, looks really, really solid to me.
Yep, and it's just a simple plug and play. If you look at the lanes as well, 4x4, it's not bad for them by any means. Sure, Malphite will get outskilled, but the laning should be fine into Yone early on. The Jinx Milio bot lane into an Alistar Xayah is going to be very comfortable to scale as well. The mid lane, Orianna Syndra, kind of balanced. If you're just focusing on farming and not dying, you'll be fine. So I think RPI, no pressure on them. They'll just go for late. If anything, Army West Point, with this Yone, with this Graves, I feel like the pressure's on them to make something happen. And specifically on Nailbird with his Graves, because your lanes are going to need some help.
No, absolutely. And with a champion like the Graves, you want something that can dominate lane a little bit more, and then you can press your lead, right? You can be the assertive one. You're not there kind of, on something like a Jarvan, which was banned away by RPI, playing a little more defensively and punishing a little bit of overextension by the Malphite, by the Orianna. Again, these are the theoretical matchups, the way this is supposed to go on paper. There's on paper, and then there's execution, as we all know. RMC, like you said, Nailbird on this Graves, that's where we've been looking at. A lot of physical damage in this composition. Syndra is more potent than she used to be, right? With the mini rework, the splinters, yada, yada. She scales a lot better. But this does look to be a little bit one-sided. But either way, this just looks like a composition that, again, you have to put a lot in Big Wheel and Nailbird's basket. If this doesn't go right, especially how, and we can maybe turn this into, actually, let's just stay there. Does this worry you that there is a lot of onus on top jungle, especially because this composition is it's a bit boom or bust?
Not at all, because I think that's what Army West Point, no, they recognize that, hey, Big Wheel is a big carry player for the team. So they're putting the onus on him in this game one. The Yone can literally make or break these fights. The Yone has the easiest access to the Jinx. And as much as we praise the RPI composition, it is still fundamentally primarily a 1.5 threat composition. The big threat is Jinx. Orianna, great. She lands a shockwave, and that's the majority of her job done. Don't underestimate her consistent damage in the autos, but it's nothing on these AD carries. So if you can shut down Exithy at the starts of fights, Army West Point is fine. And that's why I like the Yone, and I guess the Syndra to a lesser extent as well, because yes, she's a bit more single target, but if she can burst out the Jinx with the Unleashed power, even if Coco Lemon goes down after that, his job is done.
Yeah, you can be a bit of a one-button Boris on the Syndra. The upfront damage is immense with the Unleash power, and then it's consistent damage with the Xayah as well. But like you said, it's going to be about accessing that Jinx in the back line, and you've got Engage and you've got Peel as well from RPI, right, with the Malphite, and you can leave the rel back to, if you want the Malphite to be the ball delivery system, Malphite can stay back. Milio can peel, obviously incredibly well as well. How do you see, that Milio, that's got to feel really good into, again, a composition that with an Alistar and a Yone, you've got a couple of big go buttons. Do you think the Milio could be enough disengage, or is it going to be about really just Exithy maybe relying on himself a little bit more?
A little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. I think the Milio is a great pickup for all the things you mentioned. The burst heal he can put out as well can do a lot to counteract Yone when he goes to the backline with that bait sealed. And the other thing I'm looking at is the added range you give to Jinx as well. We've already talked about how difficult it is for Army West Point to play into this Jinx, especially for the AD carry, especially for the likes of the Graves and the Syndra. Now, if you give even more range, now I'm worried for Big Wheel, because if he doesn't get enough distance to actually gap close, things are going to go really bad, really, really fast, and your entire backline is going to be wrecked by that ball delivery system as well. So I like the Milio for all these sort of extra safety it gives Exithy, a player who we already know is really mechanically good and can position very, very well.
Well, that is where the ball is in Exithy's court, right? All the eggs are in that basket. He is the one player of this squad that represented ECAC in CLOL, Rensselaer Polytechnic. They're an experienced program, but really only one player has that experience as far as the high-level competitive big LAN tournament experience. Onto the Rift we go. Again, 4x4 and RMC here with you for this best of 3 and 8-9 matchup with a whole lot more into it than you might expect given these two seeds. Happy to be here. Happy to be here with you again, RMC. It has been too long, brother.
It has indeed. And usually when we cast together, we're covering things like Brazil, where chaos abounds and just everything goes here. Now, tonight, with these competitions, at least in this game one, I'm not expecting to see that. I really think RPI is going to sit back a little bit, play it safe, no level 1 shenanigans. But for Army West Point, remember we were talking about Nailbird? Well, Graves can do a lot on his own. He's got a lot of damage, a lot of sort of agency. And I'd love to see Nailbird start the game by kind of invading onto RPI a little bit, slowing down Paradox, or maybe just looping around for a gank in the mid lane on that Orianna. Okay, he's over the wall. Wasn't? Oh, he was spotted on the way back out. Just a word.
There you go. And Big Wheel waiting in tow, just in case, but does get that ward down, like you were saying. So you know exactly where it is. The jig is up. But like you said, a lot of onus on this top side for Army West Point. Nothing too crazy in the runes here. Hopefully footwork for the Graves, lethal tempo for both AD carries. Ghost still very much an option on AD carries, especially when you've got that kind of range. To be able to gap close like that can be really, really helpful.
Yeah, especially when you've got the Milio as well. Milio out functionally a cleanse, so using the Ghost, especially considering that we already said before, there's only really one sort of CC that we expect to see find its way easily onto that back line. The moment Exithy can survive, he can just kind of kite back with that Ghost for days. But for that's all later on. That's all in the team fighting. Let's look at the lane a little bit first, because we are seeing Glacial Augment on Miss Piggy's Revenge. So there is potential setup for Nailbird. Nailbird, oh, they walk into each other.
Well, like ships in the night, they run into each other. Paradox able to get a little bit of damage down, but you can see Nailbird with the damage that he has in his kit. Like he said, a lot of agency and a lot of early damage. He's just such a menace pre-6, and he just bullies Paradox right off that red buff and says, actually, all your jungle belong to me now, and bullies him right into the bottom side of the map.
Yeah, if anything, I think we kind of need to see if Paradox is able to kind of counter jungle, kind of invade back over to answer that one. But for that's the start we're kind of hoping for from Nailbird. So glad to see Army West Point are on point for the early game.
Nice. Yeah, no, this is exactly what we want to see, and this is something we're going to track, right? We identified this PowerPoint very, very much for them. And the bottom lanes, yeah, that's very much a later on problem, like you were saying, even though a little bit out of character for Haven and Miss Piggy's Revenge, right? They usually over the course of the season had played a ton of weak side, but with this Paradox now, trying to get another advantage, but Nailbird, he's just kind of everywhere right now. Nothing is secret. Nothing is safe in this jungle.
I mean, Paradox is the one who went in there trying to counter jungle. Now, it's worth noting Paradox didn't get their first buff either, so really, really far behind the curve. And the only reason why I suspect Army West Point didn't go for the 4 buff and deny away the blue buff as well was because of what we're seeing on screen here in the bot lane. Exity and BB Pain pushing out hard right now so that they can fall back. They can protect that last remaining buff, Paradox.
Well, it's like you said, this lane is going to be very, very comfortable for the Jinx and the Millie. A lot of safety. You get a built-in cleanse. Yes, at level 6, so it's not going to be for a while there. But, yeah, just assisting Paradox and using that bottom lane to their advantage. Nailbird able to get a bit of an initial advantage, but with that Scuttle Crab, going to come back up just about even. But like you said, the initial buffs not going Paradox's way, and for early skirmishing, that really does matter. So he's going to have to pick his fights a lot better. Meanwhile, on the top side, Doran's Ring versus Doran's Blade. Nothing too crazy up there. We haven't seen kind of, the level 6 with the all-in from both of these champions is such a big spike for both Big Wheel and Golden Ninja.
Hold on, that's not a Doran's Blade. Big Wheel actually went with the shield, so he's playing it.
I meant to say. Okay. I don't know why I said that.
Well, because I think a Blade would be completely understandable, especially with the Yone, where you want to play aggressive when you've got a jungler who you think can cover. But Big Wheel taking the shield tells me that he's playing it a little bit safer, and we might not actually see Nailbird go to that top lane immediately. Especially since Big Wheel, by the way, is doing a great job in this 1v1 right now, is punishing the Malphite very, very heavily. So if you don't need that pressure, you can wait till level 6 and go for the solo yourself instead.
Speaking of an all-in at level 6, Coco Lemon might not even need it. Force the flash out of Sesame Oil Salad, has to shield himself. And now the junglers meeting in the Raptor Pit. Could be some extracurriculars that go on underneath the tower. Sesame Oil Salad trying to get the ball potentially onto Paradox. Nailbird out of charges on his auto attack and will be left out to dry. Exhaust goes down on Haven, trying to chase out Exithy. Able to get the lethal tempo back up. Auto's coming down on Miss Piggy's revenge. Able to get the headbutt right back down, but Exithy flashes that beautifully immediately. Haven going in for the kill. Try to get him sleeping, but no dice, no blood, no foul. RMC, what a spice one in the bottom lane. We're not done yet, though. In the top side, able to get the Q3 out is Big Wheel, but nothing else.
What happened to the quiet early game as promised for like across the map? Every single lane went to war almost simultaneously. And I want to talk about that mid lane a little bit, because props to Sesame All Salad surviving the shield clutch as all hell. And more importantly, Sesame All Salad was playing with fire, backing up Paradox. Nailbird could have one-shot him if he ever stepped in range. So huge props for being able to protect his jungler, stay alive, and I can't believe that we didn't get a single kill out of all that action.
No, it's literally every single lane exploded. I think everyone right-clicked on another champion at least once. All 10 members got to do that. That is extremely exciting. A lot of right-clicking going on, though, on this first dragon. Hextech 1 will be taken down, and it will be Paradox. And again, maybe not as far as intrinsic champion power, what you might expect, but with, again, like we talked about before, the assistance of that bottom lane for Exithy and for BB Pain. That's something that he used to his advantage, despite an early disadvantage, again, kind of getting bullied around his jungle. Was able to secure the first dragon for his team. RMC, how long into the game do you think that lasts, though? Being able to rely on Exithy and BB Pain to kind of cushion a dragon take for this realm.
With an almost 20 CS lead at 6.5 minutes per 4, I think that goes long. Jinx does skill up. We already mentioned that the outranged advantage is going to be massive against the Saya. So, barring some sort of interference or intervention into the bot lane, that's going to continue indefinitely. And I think that's why we're seeing Nailbird thinking about going to this bot lane. But look at the ward situation. RPI has made sure that at all times, this bot lane is covered and safe.
Dotting their I's and crossing their T's, really taking care of the fundamentals to not allow, like you said, that interference, and not allow the best laid plans that they've gotten to spiral out of control. We'll check back in and see just how long that goes. We're keeping an eye on that bottom lane, because like you said, Exithy up 20 CS right now, just monstering what we said was going to be, what RMC, I'm not going to give credit where credit is not due, pointed out was going to be a very safe lane here, and sure enough, it has played out that way. I was expecting a little more fireworks on the top side. Speaking of a 20 CS deficit, RMC, how about Golden Ninja really kind of taking it in this matchup against Big Wheel?
Exactly. We were talking a little bit about, I was talking about bot lane before, you're talking about top lane, and Big Wheel was the person you're kind of talking about. Big Wheel doing great in this comfortable 1v1 matchup. And again, I wasn't expecting this. I was expecting Malphite early on with the armor advantage and Yone not being the strongest early game champion to kind of be ahead, and he's not, which is not ideal for this Yone. And keep in mind as well, look at their health bars. Golden Ninja is constantly hovering around that half health mark. If he drops to 30%, Big Wheel lands that ultimate, his fate is literally sealed.
Yeah, it's curtains. The puns are going to write themselves. Exithy able to get level 6, pop the ultimate, survive just, or excuse me, Miss Piggy's Revenge, not level 6 yet, but there goes the Super Mega Death Rocket, not going to land. Exithy again, able to kite backwards, keep himself safe with that Ghost, and BB Pain didn't even have to pop the ultimate for Milio.
Just holding it the entire time in the event that the trade went bad. And I want to give props to Miss Piggy's Revenge as well. He is stepping up really, really well to control this. In this matchup, you kind of have to trade health, because if you're just sitting back trying to farm, the range advantage from Jinx gets full play. And that's why we're seeing this Alistar play so incredibly aggressive. But Exithy and BB Pain on this particular duo know that if you don't kill us in the first exchange, if we're not dead in the first 4 seconds of this fight, then we just kind of pew-pew you to death in range. And that's what we're seeing constantly. Rockets into the back of Miss Piggy's Revenge. Haven struggling to be able to step up. And props to Exithy for making sure he's never quite in position to get hit by the blade pool.
I mean, that's just AD carry 101, right? It's just knowing. I mean, it's tough. You got to know essentially 2 matchups, right? In any given lane duel, and knowing the limits of your champion, quite literally, the limits of where you can physically put them. Is a difference between the good and the great AD carries, knowing when to push your oops buttons. BB Pain looking like having pretty good synergy here. Like you said, holding on to the breath of life until the very last second. RMC, this definitely looks like a team that has been playing together a lot and is heading in the right direction, because I think you would have gotten a little more panicked trade from this bottom lane had this been the beginning of the split for RPI.
And I'm actually really glad too that we have Exithy playing for RPI tonight. For the last 2 weeks, or leading in towards the end of the regular season, RPI was actually playing substitutes in the AD carry position. So I wasn't exactly sure if they'd have their full starting roster. And now that they do, I guess you can see why they were picking up wins in the middle of the season. But let's talk mid laners a bit, because I feel like we focus a lot on the side lanes. That's where all the action has been. But mid lane we have to keep our eyes on a little bit as well, especially once first items start to come through. Orianna, big spike at that one item. So if RPI wants to start team fighting, I think they're waiting for that first item power spike. Whereas for Army West Point, even at this point, there's still pretty good kill threat in the mid lane if they can land that stun. But Nailbird hasn't actually come by that mid lane whatsoever. You can see one good combo that's without the ultimate, 30% of Sesame Oil Salad's health is gone.
Oh, hang on a second. Ultimate available for Big Wheel. Gets the shield out. If he can land it and land a couple more autos, it's not going to be enough. Rock solid. The crab emote goes up. Golden Ninja gets first blood with the Magnet Crash. Paradox able to yank in. Get the flash. One more jab. And Nailbird is going to be punished for never hitting the B button. Kill return, though. Coco Lemon able to get one back. Chases Paradox into his jungle. Gets the stun. The buffer doesn't go through. One more Q might do it. Able to dodge it and just get out with his life.
Great step back from Paradox. Actually stepping towards Coco Lemon.
Yeah.
Just saved his life right there, because the W didn't land from the Syndra. And let's go back up top for everyone and talk a little bit about that, because Big Wheel had flash. Big Wheel opted to stay in the fight thinking, I can take this. And you saw that sliver, or maybe you didn't see that sliver of health on Golden Ninja, because it was basically gone. I'm surprised he didn't drop to minions. Props to Golden Ninja staying in it, getting that kill. Now, does that change the overall situation in the top lane? Maybe a little bit, because Golden Ninja did pick up his mythic. But that's a very small window before Big Wheel picks up his.
Yeah, and Golden Ninja certainly trying to take advantage of it. Again, he's got flash. No ultimate available for either top laner, but Golden Ninja's going to get his back just that little bit quicker. And the Sheen passive, right, that extra damage, able to keep Big Wheel close with the passive from the Frozen Fist as well. He's down 20 CS, but RMC, that extra kill has given him the lead that he needs to be able to put pressure on this top lane. Teleport's unleashed now, so we might get something a little spicier with the second dragon fight. Again, it was BB Pain and Paradox that started this one up, but Nailbird says, well, thank you very much. We'll take it from here. Miss Piggy's Revenge goes in. Doesn't pop the ultimate just yet. Paradox caught between a rock and a hard place. There goes the ball. Sesame Oil Salad shows up at the right time, and Exithy takes care of the rest. If you like that, you're going to like the rest of this game. RPI executing the game plan beautifully. More bullets into the back of the cow. And now Haven, running for his life, will not find anything but a defensive ultimate. Meanwhile, on the top side, a solo bolo. Big Wheel gets his revenge, and the Super Mega Death Rocket will not find its mark. Finally, the dragon taken. Really making me work for this one. Nailbird, couple more autos, might do it into Paradox, but BB Pain gets a couple shields down, and the jungler survives.
I feel like the comms between these teams is just, when somebody calls go, everybody just goes. Once again, action explodes across the map. Everybody gets involved into it. In the top lane, props to Big Wheel as well for the fact that he got the kill without his Mythic. I'm not sure how that happened. He managed to do it. And as well for Army West Point. That Dragon 4v4, I think Army West Point actually picked it up. I think Nilbert managed to get it before going down.
Yeah, no, somehow he was able to swipe that away. And
amazing steal.
Yeah, I guess, yeah, pool party Graves and an Ocean Drake will go together like peanut butter and jelly. It's just that easy. Yeah, and now he's got a 30 CS lead. He's getting together that garage sale build, starting to cobble stuff together, a little bit of lethality in the inventory, and trying to make it pay. Gonna get something out of this Rift Herald here. Perfect timing. Those last 2 plates are gonna go down like a poorly mounted Jenga tower. Here comes Paradox. I'm not sure there's a ton he can do here, especially with no ultimate from Golden Ninja, and Big Wheel has his. Indeed, the tower goes down just like that.
And I don't think Paradox wants any of this. Big Wheel would be happy to rip him a new one. Big Wheel's picked up Kraken Slayer already. Paradox, no first Mythic. And you're running Merc Treads, which is not the item you want to go up into a Yone who's finding kills even without his Mythic. Yeah, look at that. Golden Ninja actually has armor. A lot of armor. He bought 2 cloth armors instead of boots, and it doesn't mean a thing.
No, yeah, especially once that Kraken Slayer comes through, just starts shredding right through. And actually, Yone, I mean, it doesn't, because it's a Kraken Slayer's a 3-hit passive. Yone has 2 swords. That doesn't count as actually 2 hits on the Kraken Slayer, does it?
I'm actually not sure if it does. I think it's...
Because, right, he's got his passive, and it's like technically 2 hits, right? One does physical, one does magic damage.
Yeah. I'm actually not sure about that, but between his passive, he stacks it really incredibly quickly, so...
Sure, yeah, no, I mean, yeah, when you're a champion that just rushes Berserker's Greaves, yeah, you're going to start applying that really, really quickly, so it probably doesn't matter in the end, but... Yeah, that probably doesn't happen. That'd be kind of wild if it did.
Stranger interactions have occurred, 4x4.
You know what? Yep, that is true. Stormrazor has come out here for Haven, but good golly, Miss Molly, look at that bottom lane CS discrepancy. Exithy and BB Payne, and we were talking about it in the green room, RMC. This is the strong point for RPI. Like we're talking about, both these teams, they know exactly how they want to play. They know their strong points, and right now, we've got basically 2 unstoppable forces building up on opposite sides of the map for these teams.
And when I'm looking at Army West Point right now, I'm looking at Big Wheel and Nilbert together, and they've got to somehow start punishing Exithy. Exithy got through laning phase untouched, and that last dragon fight kind of tipped him over the edge. He managed to pick up those kills in that fight, and now he's a major issue, especially with these first turrets going down. Now is when we start seeing teams group up, and Exithy, when he groups up the rest of the team, that's when he's going to look brightest.
Oh, yeah, I mean, we saw it a little bit in the Dragon fight. Hang on a second. Good night, sweet prince. That's the combo you're looking for. Coco Lemon just wipes Sesame Oil Salad right off the map. No problemo. Easy as you like.
The CC chain is always beautiful. Sesame Oil Salad probably could have survived just Coco Lemon, but having Miss Piggy's Revenge came in just kind of nullified even the chance to flash away. But here's the problem for RPI. RPI is down a member, and they're still pushing up. They are still strong enough. They don't care if Sesame All Salad's alive. They care if Exithy is alive for the damage.
Yep. No, exactly. And yeah, that shockwave is obviously huge, but you've got Emilio for disengage and 2 thick boys with 3 C's in a queue between this Rel, now with the Mythic gotten, and Golden Ninja with the right boots. A lot of armor, but again, we saw just how much the armor helped against Big Wheel. But look, like you said, it's not really about, you know, it's just about protecting Exithy, like you said.
Into the bot lane, Haven actually able to do quite a bit of damage to this turret. Does need to convert on it, though. We are past the plate point, and Nailbird and Miss Piggy's Revenge are looking for the 3v1.
Oh, poor Sesame Oil Salad. Oh. Thinking he's safe going into the bottom lane, they said, no.
I feel bad for Sesame Oil. That's the second time that Miss Piggy's Revenge has gone after him. Now, I'm not familiar with what a Sesame Oil Salad is for. Perhaps you can tell me a bit more about it. Is it a tossed salad of some sort?
Someone was getting their salad tossed, that's for dang sure.
Yep. It is now, if it wasn't before, so.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, and I think unfortunately that was Sesame Oil Salad, but look, other things getting done around the map here, and with the Dragon coming up in just a few seconds here, I'm sure the Sesame Oil Salad, that was part of his mission, was, all right, homie, you're going to go down there in the bottom lane, and Exithy and BB Payne are going to take care of things in the mid lane, push this one out, but it is Nailbird and Big Wheel that are able to get that first setup onto that Drake. They got the ward down on the Pixel Brush here. Can RPI contest this? Well, Miss Piggy's Revenge is saying, nope, I'm going to make this personal. In goes Paradox. Big ultimate, big set of ultimates, actually. And now, finally, the damage comes through. Paradox somehow holding out long enough. And a huge root with a disengage there for Haven because Exity was about to go nuclear on the rest of the team.
Paradox dead, no smite available for RPI, so they might have won pushing forward on the fight, but they lost a member, couldn't go for Dragon, and meanwhile in the top lane, Big Wheel keeps applying this pressure. However, I'm going to be honest, normally holding the Mel fight there is a win for the other team, but right now, with how strong Big Wheel is, I would actually like to see Big Wheel get into these fights. I think him in the team fight is worth more than Golden Ninja in the team fight.
Yeah, I think there's something to be said for that. Yeah, I mean, if nothing else, like, yeah, it just felt like in that fight, in that last one, Army West Point was reactive, right? They were kind of going backwards and having a threat to, like you said, just get on top of Exity. That could be the difference maker. No jungler. RPI has to concede this second or this third Drake, excuse me. Oh, that is tough. Flash ultimate, no dice, Big Wheel ults away, and Paradox, I think, will have to settle for second place here. Hang on a second. BB Payne says, gotta go fast. Here we go, bringing in the cavalry onto Big Wheel, able to get the Q2 down.
Did she get out?
Unbound, knows exactly where it's gonna come back from. That might not have been the move. There goes the Super Mega Death Rocket, goes wide. It doesn't matter. Golden Ninja picks up the kill.
How is he alive? Come back out.
Just barely. Miss Piggy's Revenge. I don't know what Miss Piggy did to Golden Ninja, but here she comes. Hang on a second. Nope. One more speed boost there from BB Payne. Wow.
Well, Golden Ninja was definitely sneaky there. I cannot believe he did not go down the turret. I was praying, hoping for a shield somewhere. Didn't even need it. And therefore, that happened without Exity. We've been hyping up Exity. We've been hyping up this Jinx. Well, the rest of RPI ain't sleeping either. They're able to mechanically perform in that top lane. Sure, it took 4 people to kill Big Wheel, but they did it. And more importantly, they didn't lose anything else while it happened. Haven wasn't able to push bot, and Exity actually got mid-outer.
Yeah, the only thing that they kind of, gave up, if you will, on, I mean, before that play was that third dragon. But even then, that's okay, right? I mean, start sacking Cloud Drakes. Okay, cool. You move a little bit faster. Freaking sweet, right? We've got Disengage. We've got Emilio. We've got things that make that not quite as much of an issue as it might be. The Rift Herald goes down. Well, yeah, I've dropped that Rift Herald before. That feels kind of bad, but that's okay. Hullbreaker. Yeah. Hullbreaker has come in for the Yone, though. So Big Wheel is going to, I think he might have a date with Shelly here. No, I think Nailbird might be the one that takes her down. But now, Big Wheel, right now, it might take all 5 members to kill Big Wheel this time around. That Hullbreaker Yone, that is one of my, I say this completely seriously, of course, one of my favorite parts of playing League of Legends in late 2023.
You know what? I'm glad you actually prefaced it by saying, like, seriously, you actually liked it, because I hate it. I hate Hullbreaker in general. 4x4.
Okay, that was sarcasm. Okay, so that didn't work.
I got confused by it.
I think it's so like I get that this champion has like a solo lane kind of split pushing duelist like identity. Hullbreaker, I think it's just one of those things that just kind of for no reason makes me angrier than it should. You know, like I know I don't need to get so wound up about this. I know I don't need to get into fights with people on Twitter about Hullbreaker. But it just gets a rise out of me. I'm trying. I don't know. I told my therapist about it. He said, "What's a Hullbreaker?" That's as far as I got with him.
You know what? You need to introduce your therapist to League of Legends, and specifically Yone. They'll learn real quick right there what it is. But
he might recommend me to a different therapist.
I don't know. Maybe he'd recommend you to build a Hullbreaker of your own. You know, you can't beat him, join him.
Yeah, exactly.
Exity?
How does this make you feel? Why does it make you feel that way? Feeling absolutely horrible is Exity. Gets absolutely rinsed off the map. And now RPI just sitting there with their fingers up their noses as this tower is going to fall in the next wave, it looks like.
How does it make me feel? Confused for it. Why does it make me feel? Because Exity just vanished. And we're talking about this Yone who's able to find the backline. Keep in mind, Hullbreaker is not a teamfight item, but it's working anyways, which is absolutely disgusting. And now Army West Point are in control. They're in control of the Baron Pit as it spawns. And for RPI, they have to try and stop this, but it's so risky. No shockwave either. Let's just mean it's that one.
No shockwave. Paradox has ult and flash and smite, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, you're playing for the flip on this one. Big Wheel playing bodyguard, gets a flash out of Sesame Oil Salad as well. Huge damage from the Super Mega Death Rocket, but too little, too late. I respect it. Paradox gets a shield. Not going to flash backwards, and in fact is going to follow up after a huge unstoppable force from Golden Ninja. Might they have enough from this? Exathy, who? I've never heard of her. Just kidding. This is going horribly. Turning the fight is Nailbird. So much damage. A triple kill for the Grave. And Exathy meets the same fate that he did the first time around. Oh no, it's all gone wrong for RPI.
It was looking so good, and what happened for Y4? Literally in the span of 3 minutes, Exathy goes down once. RPI makes a small mistake, a bit overeager. They saw the lower health bars. You could feel the excitement, but not having Shockwave. Sesame also didn't have enough to clean up, and nobody on Army West Point Falls, nobody for Y4.
Yeah, that feels horrible. I mean, but that again just shows you we've been beating this drum this whole game, but starting that fight was not a bad idea. Starting that fight without Exathy was a bad idea. Because like, it didn't matter that you're going into 4 squishy targets. You have no damage. Like you said, like, it's, you know, the Shockwave, yeah, okay, it's Shockwave and consistent damage from the autos, but like you said, this is a 1.5 threat comp that RPI is running. 2/3 of the 1.5 threats. That's some quick maths for you there. Stay in school, kids. We're not there.
RPI is still able to answer back, though. Despite how everything swung, if Exathy stays alive, if they fight around them, if they can fight front to back clean, RPI have a chance. But it's much, much harder now, because it's not just Big Wheel who's a threat. Now Nailbird is a threat. Coco Lemon is a threat, and they can try and melt your front line as well. It is a bit of a race. I was a bit scared for Coco Lemon, actually, right there.
I tensed up, man. I thought that was another death for Exathy there.
We're both scared for different players. That mid lane action was really, really tense. And that's going to be the case for all the upcoming team fights for I4. So eyes for me are on Exathy's positioning and Big Wheel, whether or not he can find his way onto that back line. He doesn't have to kill Exathy outright, but if he can delay it, Coco Lemon, Haven, Nailbird, these guys can just burn through that front line with the gold lead that they currently have.
So do you think it's going to be about who can start the fights first? Because both teams have a bit, I mean, well, again, we're ignoring the fact that there's an 8,000 gold lead up top. So taken on even footing, this is a fight that probably RB West Point is going to win. Like you said, it just feels like a lot more has to go right for RPI right now.
Yeah, and for RPI, I'm kind of also looking for Golden Ninja to find that unstoppable force with the Shockwave combined. They've found some great engages, but they've not been able to sync up the ball delivery system just yet. Army West Point, they're ahead, but they're a lot of damage, very little tank. So if you set it up right, they absolutely know.
Yeah, you need that CC chain. I think it's really just as simple as that, because you saw it. I mean, even without Exathy, right? That fight that kind of, in my opinion, really swung this game firmly in Army West Point's favor. That fight around Baron. There was no Exathy, but it looked so good. I got so hyped up. I was screaming, oh my god, they don't need the Jinx. And then Nailbird just chewed right through them.
Yeah, they didn't have the Shockwave on that one either. Ooh, Nailbird able to back up. And Army West Point, the ball's in their court right now. They need to pressure. Baron has worn off, and they weren't really able to push in too much. But even without that, nobody can answer Big Wheel on a split push right now. That hull breaker that we kept harping about, that's what it's designed to do, is give him that favorable 1v1. And as to the rest of the team, if they can kite back, we've seen that Haven can do a lot of work, and RPI don't necessarily have the best forward moving composition without the Meltdown.
Yeah, and it just makes, again, the Magnet Storm, the Shockwave, so much easier to land. And with the Shirelles as well, the speed boost you can get from BB Pain. Oh, hang on a second, Miss Piggy's Revenge might be in some trouble here. CC chain of their own. Do RPI have Exathy nailing rockets into the back of Miss Piggy's Revenge? That is a big cow, though. Some tough flank steak. It takes a while, but the support does go down. A numbers advantage here for RPI, but no objective to fight over RMC.
Can I just point out, too, Exathy is running IE and Kraken Center. Like, 2 item power spike already, and Miss Piggy's Revenge just turned on ultimate and bought so much time. That was way more than I expected, and that's worrying for my 4, because a lot of what I said was under the assumption Army West Point don't have a true tank. They kind of
let me introduce you to whatever the heck Miss Piggy's Revenge ate in the Wheaties this morning. That was silly.
You know what? Miss Piggy's Revenge more fed than Wagyu beef right now. And that Unbreakable, that just makes him that much fatter. So yeah, RPI, they actually have to be really careful the next fight, and all the more important now, Golden Ninja needs to find that backline because he's the one who can get to the back with that ball. If that doesn't go through, they can still win, but yeah, Army West Point is going to be able to shred front lines faster than RPI can.
And Army West Point, with that Baron buff, they were able to shove out these lanes pretty well, but now kind of losing a little bit of control here. On the top side, Coco Lemon able to get some decent shove off. So now it's about setting up for this Baron. I mean, we saw what a difference that first one made, but with Dragon Soul coming up here at just about the same time here. Ooh. What do you go for here, RMC?
It feels like RPI might just say, sack the Dragon, we'll go for Baron instead. They do Baron quite quickly with the Jinx where she is, but it's really risky. Oh, Miss Piggy's Revenge on the flank.
Oh, I don't think it's going to be an opportunity for a fair fight here. Miss Piggy's Revenge goes in, looking for the counter engages. Paradox, Exithy is dumping damage into Big Wheel. Big Wheel goes right into the backline. A couple more others might do it. The exhaust might not matter. Everything dumped onto Exithy, and that is how much it matters. The grand total of 0. They get into the backline, they set it up, and Exithy is knocked down. Big Wheel and Nailbird take down the 80 carry, and it's just that simple. Baron will be their prize.
The gold advantage for Army West Point coming in clutch there forever. You saw everything thrown down to stop Big Wheel. It was almost enough. Give RPI another 5 minutes, maybe Exithy lives. But Army West Point, they find the critical time, they find the clutch time, they get the kills, and they're now going for Baron and Soul simultaneously.
Oh, breaker Yone. That's what this champion's able to do, man. I mean, just silly. But look, respect to Army West Point. You know, I joke about Hullbreaker Yone, but there's nothing cheesy about what happened here. Like you said, this was just the gold advantage. And like you said, everything went into keeping Exithy alive. He was just sprinting backwards. But it was like Big Wheel just muscling through after the exhaust went down, after the flash away, after the cleanse from BB Pain. And it did not matter. But you saw just how much of a gravitational pull this Jinx has. Because once the Jinx went down, I mean, it was just a formality for AWP. Oh, hang on a second here. Oh, jeez. So
that didn't even use the ult from Graves. It's still available.
Should that be blurred out? Can we put that on the internet? That was brutal. My good, it's a child. Stop it.
It keeps
Nailbird
happening.
and company
It's
just
not
mopping
stopping.
up the rest. One at a time. Stop running at them. 4 for 0. Another triple kill for Nailbird.
4-4, I can't believe it. You know, huge props to Miss Piggy's Revenge as well. That's the... So shall we call that the third time that we've seen Miss Piggy's Revenge recognize that, hey, I am incredibly tanky. They can't shred me. And he just walks up into them. No hesitation, no fear. Literally walks right next to some of their members saying, hey, I don't care. You're not a damage threat. I'm just threatening your carries. And it works. This defense, it's not going to work. You have no damage.
No. No, it is not. Yeah, how about the Alistar? Just like the AI apocalypse that we all fear, just suddenly gaining sentience and going, hang on a second here. I have a lot of power. That I did not expect. That was not on my bingo card for this composition. I expected, right, you get one good headbutt in, and the Jinx just kind of two-taps you. But that was not the case. Now that Anathemas came in right at the very end, that's just the cherry on top.
100% forever. I'm with you. I did not expect... I was thinking Alistar's actually going to have a really hard time, but huge props to Miss Piggy's Revenge and Haben, considering how far down they went in that lane. Their mental was rock solid, and come the mid game, they knew, hey, I can trust the team. And Haben as well, on that Xayah, didn't get a star role this game, didn't need it. They did exactly what they needed to do, took the turrets, took the objectives, and let the carries be the carries. So 4-4, our current reigning champions, bit of a stumble here in the first round of playoffs.
Yeah, potentially just 45 minutes away from having their fate sealed, as far as, no pun intended, unironically, as far as the ECAC Fall 23 season is concerned. But Army West Point, I mean, they looked so coordinated. Like you said, like self-awareness, right? Knowing when to just sit back and get carried. Whenever you watch any sort of guide that tells you about solo queue, what a piece of advice that always comes out is know when to get carried, right? Know when you're not the star of the show. And that is exactly what happened. Like you said, that CS gap was cavernous. Like almost like they were halfway to a flame horizon on the Jinx. And it just didn't matter, RMC, because Army West Point, they took a high risk, high reward composition and they executed it to perfection. There were no straight up 5v5s at the end of that game.
Yeah, well, I kind of know, yeah, because Army West Point just kept nuking one person out right at the start. So even if it felt like it should have been, it never quite happened. And for a big question to me going into next game will be on Golden Ninja for Team RPI, because we saw him on the Malphite this game, but he's not necessarily a tank player. His champions of preference are things like Jax, Camille, Darius even. And one way to be able to shut down Big Wheel is maybe pick a lane dominant champion. This game, they all in on Exathy. Next game, 4v4, I'm curious to see if they continue doing the same.
Let's see if they fight fire with fire. RPI 1 game away from elimination. We will be right back with game 2 of this series. Army West Point take the first one. Don't go anywhere. Oh, welcome back, everybody. Thank y'all for being here. Game 1 was a ton of fun. Army West Point take it 1-0. And RPI, Rensselaer Polytechnic, on the verge of going out here in this 8-9 matchup. The winner does have to play against Columbia College. And for those that have not been watching, they have not dropped a series all year. So, you might be running might be running into a brick wall even if you come out of this one. But that's a problem for later. Yeah. Right now, myself, 4x4, and that handsome gentleman on your screen, RMC. We're taking you through game 2 in this one. And RMC, you posed a very interesting question that we are going to analyze coming into draft in this one because RPI, they had a way easier to execute composition, and until about the mid game, seemed to be executing it quite well. And you're wondering whether they're going to change it, because I think there is an argument in both camps, because I think a lot of those errors for RPI were self-inflicted. It was not a result of a poor draft.
Yeah, that mid game around the Baron where XD got caught first and then they recommitted to the Baron. Let's call it a hexakill, because to be honest, XD died twice in that fight. Yeah, that moment makes it so hard. You can't really say it's a draft issue necessarily when that sort of event happened. Maybe there are things you can do in draft to try and prevent that sort of thing from happening again, but it's certainly partially the decision making in the game as well. And for Army West Point, going into game 1, I think maybe a little bit more careful with how they started the game, but they were feeling confident by the end of it. And if you're a big wheel right now, you're feeling on top of the world. You dominated your lane, you found critical fights, you found critical picks, and you made the casters hate you by building Hullbreaker. What more could you ask for?
Ding, ding, and ding, all in a day's work. Happy Friday. Yeah, Big Wheel is feeling like the largest wheel right now. He is feeling large and in charge. Let's see. I mean, I think for him and Nailbird, look, even if they don't draft themselves quite as, tankless a composition, or at least that's what we said until Miss Piggy's Revenge turned into a freaking raid boss by the end of the game. Maybe they go with something a little bit different, but I still expect a lot of resources to be put up towards that top side. And again, another question that you posed, RMC, was around Golden Ninja. Do they want to fight fire with fire? Because it's not like the top laner for RPI doesn't have that in his pool.
Yeah, and we said it was easier to execute in game 1, but it also had less options for him, less avenues for him to express his skill. And I think if you give him something like the Jax, which did get banned, or like something like the Camille, Golden Ninja would be able to go toe-to-toe perhaps with Big Wheel. For now though, same sides and same bans are coming out for both of these teams. That surprises me a little bit. I wouldn't be surprised if RPI changes things up. Well, I was gonna say with the Syndra ban maybe, but they went with the Graves ban instead for Nailbird. Nailbird was definitely an issue, but I feel like there's other champions he can pick which would do very, very similar things.
Yeah, I mean, just looking at Nailbird's champ history here. Let me run you down this one. Graves, Kha'Zix, Elise, Nidalee, Kindred, Belveth, J4, Kane, Kindred. Like, stop. Like, it's like those memes on Twitter, right? It's like, banning out his entire champion pool. You are here, like, after 7 down, he's still got things he can just crush your dreams and ruin your day with. But that is the only ban that is different. Again, Coco Lemon, bit of a Z OTP in a past life, so taking that away. Paradox got the Shaco jungle, can win games off tilt alone. And they're valuing that Syndra pick very, very highly. So there you go.
Agreed. And that's what I was expecting to see the Syndra ban initially. Now, the big question, well, I guess for RPI, do they still want to run the Orianna? Because the lane matchup wasn't bad by any means. Yep, there we go. It was just more of an issue of what happened outside the team fight. So I think Sesame All Solid's going to be comfortable running that pick. What's the ball delivery system? Because I don't want to see the Mel fight again for I4. And the Rel didn't quite make it work. For now, though, that question is going to be unanswered. They're going with the Ezreal, which tells me RPI, and specifically Exithy, is saying, no, man, I'm doing my own thing. We pick another carry. I take Ezreal, and I do what I need to do to stay alive.
Yeah, this isn't going to be maybe as dominant a lane. Nailbird going to grab Haben, the Xayah again. It looks like we'll see what sort of support is paired up with Exithy. BB Payne, wouldn't be surprised to see him on another Enchanter, but again, we're looking for a ball delivery system, right? So maybe actually, as soon as I said that, maybe I would be surprised to see him on another Enchanter. Rakan will be picked up. Remember, that was the ban. That Graves you see on the bottom right of your screen, that was a Rakan in game 1. And Coco Lemon says, thank you very much. We will give this to Miss Piggy's Revenge. And Miss Piggy's Revenge, on the Alistar, on a champion that's a lot more kind of point and click, telegraphed, engaged, found some really, really good picks. And on Rakan that is much slipperier, can play angles a lot better. I expect more of the same.
Interesting choice from RPI with the Braum pickup, because I think Braum's a great champion into most engage supports. but not Rakan specifically, because Rakan's very slippery. It's actually really hard to land the stun onto him, and he can cause a lot of chaos in the meantime. So this Braum to me is more of a defensive pick to try and buy more space for Exithy on this Ezreal, who's already very, very slippery. It feels like they're doubling, tripling down. And for we're still missing a ball delivery system. Braum not great at jumping into the fight, better at walking in and then hopping back out.
Yeah, and by the time he walks in, especially again, you're on a support budget, you might be toast, and you do not have that big ultimate. You've got the stand behind me, but you don't have that same just steroid ult, right? That's the if you want to guess when a League of Legends champion was released, if their ult is just gain a ton of stats, that was 2015 or before. Right, that is an old school ultimate that is not doing much. Some heavy hitting bans here in phase 2 here. Sylas, Malphite, Kha'Zix, Diana going to be taken away. Diana and Sylas, pretty decent ball delivery systems here. And again, more high octane would be more threats in that composition for RPI, which was again something that we were criticizing a little bit was, look, without Exithy, they just had absolutely nothing. Now, here's an interesting pick here. The Lilia will be picked up here by, I'm assuming, Paradox, although I guess this could go in the top lane.
Yeah, I would assume Paradox. I don't think Golden Ninja plays this one. And I actually really like the pickup for it, because now you don't need a ball delivery system necessarily. If you can get that 3, 4, 5-man sleep, then, well, Sesame also can just walk the ball in himself as needed. For you were running down that list for junglers for Nilbert, and at the end of it, I caught Kindred, gets picked up again here, and that is a bit of an answer to the Lilia as well. If you go to sleep, just land the Lamb's Respite early, or you usually get out the sleep alive, pop that down and buys you time. It regains all that time you were asleep.
Speaking of buying time, Swain, there's a champion that can prolong a team fight to no end. Now, this will be in the either mid or top lane. Hang on a second.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
Are we getting some Xiaohu big wheel Syndra top action here?
No, I think we're getting like Quas level Swain top from Big Wheel, because he does actually play Swain. And what's interesting, he's blinding it as well. So Swain in the top lane isn't the old Swain where he had pretty good mana regeneration. He could stay up there almost indefinitely. He does have mana issues, and he's kind of squishy early on, especially pre-6. So the answer from RPI for Golden Ninja is to fight fire with fire. He is picking a damage-oriented carry. You love to see it. He didn't need to once the Lilia was there, but he wants to have impact. And into the Swain as well for that is such an odd matchup, because on one hand you've got invulnerability, undying rage, refusal to drop dead, and on the other hand, Swain's just gonna drain tank you through that. So if Trinity doesn't hit a certain threshold for damage, he actually ends up losing that, because Demonic Ascension just runs effectively forever.
Yeah, if you can't get out, I mean, that's the classic, like, it's a noob trap, right? Is, oh, I just gotta beat this Swain, I gotta beat this Swain, I have heal reduction. No. Get out of the ultimate, and it will time out. Otherwise, it will literally go on forever. Like you said, unless you hit a very high damage threshold. Thankfully, as far as kind of applying anti-heal, Lilia does a pretty good job of that. But again, it really is just for Big Wheel. Not, the rest of this team, not really going to benefit a ton from healing here. But we're seeing Nailbird back on a carry. We're seeing Big Wheel back on something menacing that can do something in a solo lane, and can be a real menace as far as starting team fights is concerned. And the rest of the composition plays pretty similarly here. But RPI, it is still a lot of eggs in the Exithy basket, but like you were saying, Golden Ninja is now going to, as we have said, fight fire with fire. This game should be really, really spicy.
Yeah, just the sheer amount of damage on the table for it. Okay, I said this last game, it might come back to bite me again. I said last game that, Army West Point didn't really have a tank. This game, I see one tank right now on the table, and that's the Braum. Swain will get tankier, but he's a drain tank. Yeah. He's not a straight up HP tank.
Exactly.
So when his ult's down, he's kind of squishy, and because of that, it does feel like this game's a lot more explosive. And it's not going to be as sort of laid out as game one, where it was just like, RPI just needs to scale up and they'll be able to play front to back. No, this game, a lot's going to matter in your laning phase. Whoever comes out with leads can take over. And literally, every single champion in this game has a lot of agency, can take over themselves.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of snowball potential for sure. And if these team fights are even once they do come about, then my job is going to get a lot harder, because there are going to be champions just all over the place. These team fights are going to be really, really sloppy. Rakan finding different engages, invulnerability this, undying range that, drain tank this, auto attacks and skill shots not going to land because of the Braum. But either way, It should be a ton of fun. And if that's not what we're here to witness, what are we here to witness? Oh, praise be. Heck yeah. They've got the Summoners Cup up there with the T1 logo. Everything is right in the world. Faker is back on top, ladies and gentlemen. No matter how long you've been watching League of Legends, you can now say you remember a time when Faker was on top of the world. And I think that's a beautiful thing.
It is, and with the blessings of the most aggressive team in the LCK 4x4, I'm hoping we get a nice aggressive early game as well. We did last game. We thought it'd be quiet, but action kept breaking out, and I feel like with a Rakan Braum in the bot lane, that's going to be spicy. Syndra Orianna probably less so, but they were willing to move. Yeah. And in this top lane, I'm actually really curious to see how the laning goes. I've not seen a Trinivere Swain matchup. I'm trying to think if I ever actually have seen that matchup. I don't think I have.
Yeah, I can pretty comfortably say I've never seen that. I've never casted it. That's for dang sure. Yeah, to say I've seen it, maybe in some solo queue or some flex with the boys, but even then, I don't think I've seen it. Nailbird, I love that he just kind of strolled through the mid lane. It's like I know that, like, hi, I'm playing a champion that just literally requires you to know where I am for you to counter me. I'm just going to waltz on through here and drop the ward down. Those two wards gonna be in that exact same spot. And RMC, like you were saying, I think we could see a lot of chaos this game, but it's really going to break open when these champions hit level 6. I cannot think of it. It's like from the mid lane up, not necessarily for the bottom lane, but for the mid lane up, level 6 is just a guard. 6 for 6, game-changing power spike.
Yeah, and the supports in the bot lane do have game-changing level 6s, and I expect them to roam out and just kind of do things elsewhere. Because Ezreal, especially as an AD carry, isn't too spicy. It's more like poke, 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 and maybe I poke you to death. So, yeah, I'm fully expecting the top side to be spicy 06. But junglers, it's always wise to keep an eye on Kindred early because she can get some spicy ganks off at that level 2, level 3. She gets a surprising amount of burst damage, and if there's low health bars or sufficient setup, Kindred can definitely get snowballing your.
Yeah. Yep, and speaking of, again, like you're saying, just another slippery champion, obviously a game-changing ultimate. Got the Hunter's Mark down. On to Paradox, who himself is a little bit low, but a little bit of diagonal vertical jungling. Well, one-sided vertical jungling here. BB Pain opting to potentially protect the top side, or the bottom side, rather. And like you said, XT, very self-sufficient as an AD carry. Because of the champion they are playing. Yeah, so BB Pain can get up there with a level 6 ultimate and really be that secondary jungler that a lot of these supports can be. I mean, shoot, Nautilus, Leona, right? I mean, Nautilus literally used to be a jungler. And if you watch some CB LoL last year, he was a jungler.
We don't talk about that.
Yeah, that was well, anyway. Yeah, BB Pain using his ultimate very, very well here. Or his W's to stand behind me. Big Wheel getting a little shove here on the third wave onto Golden Ninja. Again, before level 6. Yeah, this is going to be pretty rough. But Golden Ninja, yeah, this using his range very well is Big Wheel right now. But Golden Ninja is able to get the fear down here. And these autos kind of hit like a truck. And popping the Ghost. Looks like he's going for the all-in. Everyone popping Ghost. The Conquerors go down. And he make me eat my words. First blood for Golden Ninja.
And you could see the moment that Big Wheel knew he messed up bot lane. Paradox? Okay, just poking his head in, seeing what he can find. Yeah, the moment Big Wheel popped his Ghost, you know Big Wheel realized, I messed up. And he threw the never move in the wrong direction, hoping that Golden Ninja would try and cut him off. But huge props to Golden Ninja. Very measured play, didn't step up, knew that I still had flash if I need to, and most importantly, Big Wheel doesn't. So Golden Ninja kind of going for that split push idea that we saw Big Wheel apply last game with the Yone.
Yeah, like you said, it was a very measured trade there, right? He knowing exactly kind of where his champion could thrive. Once the abilities went down, he had the Summoner Spell advantage, said, I'm just going to right-click you to death. I can gap close, you have a range advantage, but I can swirl in fear you, and the rest kind of takes care of itself. And now up 4 CS hasn't cashed in the kill just yet. We'll see what he comes back with. Big Wheel's come back with some pots and some boots as well. Both these junglers, again, we're watching that race to level 6. Darksteel picked up here by Paradox. Still offers a lot of good early stats, even if you don't have the big carry game that that item maybe implies.
Yeah, though I do suspect that Paradox is thinking about kills for I4. And that makes me think, where do you get kills as this Lilia? Mid is doable, but it's a little bit hard sometimes with the Scatter of the Weak to knock you back. Lilia does need to engage quite linearly. And my mind just goes back to that top lane, because we talked about Tryndamere needs to hit a certain damage threshold to cut through that Demonic Ascension. But at level 6, the first rank of that Demonic Ascension isn't actually that... Ooh, Big Wheel actually canceled back. Doesn't heal you for that much, and Big Wheel is playing with fire right now. Golden Ninja has Zerka's Greaves, will hit... Actually, hasn't hit 6 yet, so there's this window Big Wheel needs to use to back off, because once he does hit 6, Tryndamere is strong enough at this point.
Yeah, can just auto attack him to death with the pass as well. Can sustain through a lot of this, and I think Big Wheel might know that he messed up, but with not having a TP, maybe didn't opt for it. But either way, Golden Ninja in a decent position to punish. First dragon up, Nailbird hops over the wall, and everybody was invited, unless of course you are RPIs. Although I think with Coco Lemon at level 6, maybe they wouldn't be too bummed if RPI decided to crash this party.
No, I think they're actually trying to invite it right now. Sesame All Salad, unfortunately, not able to quite move, and also because Army West Point got there first, it's hard to collapse in without them just picking one direction and brute forcing it. You saw the wave situation. Bot lane was pushed out as well, so Army West Point took a great job to set up for this dragon. There's no blood, there's no kills, but there was a lot of thinking going into that one.
Yeah, it felt like it was on a bit of a nice edge there. Thought that maybe the game could explode, but again, I just think both these junglers are waiting to hit level 6. I think that is really the big power spike. But if these two mid laners, I feel like I'm getting deja vu all over again. RMC, Sesame Oil Salad, hanging on. My dear life flashes away. The W would have meant certain death, but holds on to the flash. Intelligent veteran move there from the RPI mid laner. But Coco Lemon comes out on top.
Nailbird, not 6 yet, being hunted by this level 7 Tryndamere.
Yeah, Golden Ninja is very much level 6. Says, thank you very much. I will take that. Nailbird, yeah, and he had Big Wheel down to help him, but Golden Ninja just running riot on this map right now. And RMC, this is what we wanted to see, was maybe something a little bit different from RPI. You've still got an AD carry that can pump out a lot of damage. Not quite as easy to execute as the Jinx, obviously. But Golden Ninja, yeah, like we said, just with the Ornn, hasn't quite, he's not really a tank player. That hasn't been his strong suit.
Yeah, and when I spoke to RPI, they were saying their solo laners, Golden Ninja and Sesame All Salad, these are good, strong mechanical players. They didn't come up through the development system that RPI has, like Paradox did. So you know that they're being picked up. It's because they're mechanically very, very good. And I'm glad we're getting to see that with this Tryndamere for Golden Ninja. I know it's weird to say Tryndamere is a mechanically intensive champion, but at least in the early game, knowing when to go in, when not to, and when to press R is key.
Yeah, you just need to have a lot of game knowledge, a lot of matchup knowledge. It's a champion that in veteran hands, even though it's a bit of a... It feels like a noob champion. This is a champion that, again, in the right hands can be absolutely deadly. There's just a very sneaky amount of damage, and the gap close, and obviously that ultimate. Yeah, knowing your windows to punish, and we saw Golden Ninja already do it once. Nailbird be in a little bit of trouble here. Sesame Salad looking to collapse. Got the 100's mark there onto Exatheme. Is Piggy's Revenge. I think a W over the wall there. Nope, not going to opt into it.
He is playing with fire right now, 4x4. I don't think he had full vision of where Miss Piggy's Revenge was, and a quick knock-up could have spelled the end of his life, but hey, it was successful, right? He survived, he bought time. Will still lose that quadrant of the jungle, though RPI is starting to collapse it.
Seems like they've got eyes on it. And now they might be getting collapsed on here. Coco Lemon is a little late to the fight, but is it too little too late? Nailbird has the Lamb's Respite, pops it finally, buying them some time, but now the sleep goes out. Paradox gets it down. Damage is going to be enough. Nailbird goes down. Coco Lemon flashes over, not able to get Exathy. Flashes away himself. BB Pain left out to dry. They said, guys, where'd everybody go?
He just needed a friend to jump to. That's all he needed.
Literally.
But hey, huge props to both these teams. They're testing their hands a little bit right now. That was the hand check. They both felt fairly comfortable, and it was a very, very even matchup to start. You could tell that Army West Point, they wanted that, and they were saying, we still have that Lamb's Respite, and we want to see if they're able to win that out. If they had won it, I think they played much more aggressively. But as it stands, RPI fording that one beautifully, and Exathy going to be really, really happy. That's buying him an entire minion wave as well. Oh, as backup.
Ooh. Good buffer there. Paradox arriving just in time. BB Pain doesn't have the Glacial Fissure back up. No Summoners either. But Yeah, Miss Piggy's Revenge with no ultimate. That is still a pretty vulnerable lane should they want to go for some sort of all-in exit. A little low on health. That's like the only downside, but with that Sheen, that's such a good spike for the Ezreal. Those Qs start hurting a lot more. Yeah, now, 1 kill over to Army West Point, and it's in the hands of Coco Melon. Has not hit that first item spike just yet, though. I guess that's my question, RMC, is, look, this is a 1,000 gold lead here at about 10,000, about at 10 minutes here, excuse me. Oh, that, you hate to see that. There we go. Get it back, Nailbird. I didn't see it. Get the next one. Who would you say is in the driver's seat right now? Because the gold lead tells one story, but I feel like it is in RPI's hands, but this is still a competition that can do a lot for Army West Point.
I think Gromp was firmly in the driver's seat there for yeah, but at this point, I agree. I do think it is RPI. Once again, it feels like their bot lane's winning out, but this time the difference is Golden Ninja's winning out on the side as well. Yeah. So they've got 2 winning lanes, and as you mentioned, Coco Lemon picked up the kill mid lane, but that's about all the gold advantage you're seeing. It's pretty even. 200 gold is enough to buy a refillable pot, and that's about it. So RPI advantages in all the lanes. The team fight is where I'm wondering if it changes, because game 1 we thought the team fights would define the game. It kind of didn't, and this game RPI again feels like they've got pretty strong team fights. But I mean, Army West Point, their first objective is again.
They're first in the objective, but RPI have that river lit up completely red. The sleep goes down. The damage comes in from Exithy, and it just might be enough. That's a big cooldown for the Lamb's Rest, but I don't think it's going to be up in time. RPI has everybody here joining the fight. Big Wheel gets there. Is Drain tanking onto Golden Ninja, but is it enough? Looks like it just might be. Did Big Wheel just turn this fight? He doesn't have anyone to hold on to here. Exithy is chipping him down little by little. He's able to do Swain things, but the rest of his team got picked off around him. RPI with the ace.
Okay, what? Words fail me, 4x4. They sat in the middle of Big Wheel's Big Wheel, and they just got drain tanked the entire time. He gets a triple off of that. That fight should have been the RPI sweep, but as it stands, what was that? A 4 for 3 at the end of it, or 3 for 5? I lost count of how many bodies dropped there. And I think Army West Point, they're okay with it. They took Dragon. They are going to keep stacking. And considering how it could have gone, it actually ended up being pretty even, all said and done.
No, like you said, that could have been a lot worse. And now, Big Wheel has this Leandries. He doesn't have the teleport, which is going to hurt. And Golden Ninja is going to get a lot of value out of this right now. A lot of solo turret plating gold right into Golden Ninja's pocket. But Big Wheel, what a difference maker he was with that ultimate. This is a very short-range composition, aside from Exit the Sesame Oil Salad, but if you can keep the Tryndamere and Paradox in the ultimate and just stay alive, keep pumping out damage, chip away at that health, you've got some slippery buggers of your own, right? Nailbird, he's slippery. Miss Piggy's Revenge. Aben has some self-peel. Coco Lemon can one-tap someone who gets too close.
And for RPI now, they kind of don't want to put all their eggs. They don't want to hard commit the way they did right there. Nailbird able to secure that one. No flash. Has ult.
Whee! Goes over the wall. Paradox just follows him fearlessly. Nailbird. Oh, very nice. Lamb's Respite in. And now he says, I'm not locked in here with you. You're locked in here with me. Paradox gets wiped off the map. The kill goes over to the Rakan, which is the tragic part, but Exithy over the wall. Who's that on the other side of the pit? It's the American Sniper. Another kill for the 80 carry.
Actually, Paradox sniped it with the Demonic Embrace.
Oh my goodness, you're right.
Yeah, so RPI, again, it feels like the small skirmishes are favoring them a little bit because they messed up in that last team fight. I still think they have a really strong team fight, but if they can keep...
Sesame Oil Salad needs to be so careful here. Oh my god.
Wow. You know, I kind of didn't think that was going to happen. I thought Sesame Oil was going to
I absolutely knew that was going to happen. I don't have a ton of just inherent game. Find the bottom lane. I'll get to this point later. Ultimates go out. Ultimate from pretty much everybody here. Exithy jumping out the damage. Not able to get it. Finally gets a Q down, and that's going to be huge. The damage coming out, and Miss Piggy's Revenge will survive by the skin of his teeth.
I am misjudging these fights badly for and it don't stop because Coco Lemon's in trouble. Has flash.
Coco Lemon in some trouble. There we go. There is the flash ninja key, or not Golden Ninja, not able to chase him there. Didn't want to commit the flash.
Wow, I knew RPI was winning these skirmishes, but they are winning it hard for Ecuador, and it's just snowballing, as we see.
Yeah.
The fact that Golden Ninja is able to just roam down into that mid lane now and completely unpunished by Big Wheel is going to be able to get back up to catch the majority of that wave means that Army West Point have to play carefully, and no turrets have dropped yet, which is kind of important because normally, yes, it hasn't dropped. That's the key. If it doesn't drop, Army West Point don't really want to rotate people out yet. We're still seeing the regular laning patterns, and that's not favorable to them. They want Big Wheel where the action is. That's the member who got fed. That's the member who's messing up RPI's plans right now.
No, absolutely. And they need that big fight because, like you said, in these little skirmishes, it's going RPI's way, and they're well on their way to bringing this one back. Nailbird not having the same impact that he did on the Graves in Game 1. But, again, that is a game-changing ultimate that he has in the Lamb's Respite. And it's not like they don't have a win condition. They're stacking up these dragons. It will be the...
Hextech.
Let's see. Yeah, Hextech Soul up for grabs here. And so, talking about the subjective setup here, because it looks like RPI, you know, yes, AWP have some deep wards in, but it looks like RPI, they're going to be the first ones onto this dragon. They've got the river just lit up red.
Yeah, and I love the rotations as well. RPI sends down Paradox to this bot lane because that turret was almost dead. You can't defend it. And taking it down gives RPI so much more pressure in the bot lane. We're questioning if there would even be a contest at Dragon. Now there won't be because Army West Point, they're not in position at the right time. Did Paradox mean to drop that there, or was that an attempt at warding or clearing wards?
Yes. I don't know. That was I was processing that as you were talking. I was like, I heard that sound effect right? Like,
yeah.
Yeah, I guess we're just running out of time. I'm not sure.
Okay. Well, now with the sweeper, they at least know that they should be able to pick up this Hextech perfectly fine. And because XFT and BB Pain were already pushing, it's not a wasted herald. They still get the charge off, and keep in mind, side lane turrets are still worth more gold.
They do grab the dragon, excuse me. As a result, a lot of pressure in that bottom lane. Nailbird, though, taking some camps for lunch here, but Golden Ninja follows him right over the wall. Big Wheel throws out the never move, can't really land much here, but now it's a 1v2. Can he keep Nailbird alive? Golden Ninja just beating him to death. 2 invincibility ultimates go down. Who's going to get the better of it? Undying Rage, and Golden Ninja just spins right out. And now Big Wheel's in some trouble here, just trying to keep the drain tank down. He falls asleep, though. That is beautifully executed from RPI. That is how you deal with a Swain.
Okay, now things are getting a little bit troublesome for Army West Point because we were talking about the fact that they still had strength in getting Big Wheel to the fight, but without any backup, well, we just witnessed bear baiting, and Big Wheel just could not find a target to lock onto. He hasn't completed his Rylai's yet either, which means you're not slowing anybody. And unfortunately with Boots, you see how mobile this RPI team is. Even Orianna, who doesn't have an escape, can always speed herself up or slow down Swain and just walk away.
Now Golden Ninja just beating that top tower to death. Immense pressure in both the side lanes for RPI. It's going to make those later game objective setups just that much easier.
And we talked about how these games can be very volatile with the drafts that we saw from both of these teams. Whoever gets ahead can very quickly snowball. We're almost at 20 minutes for I4, and the numbers up top show that RPI are the ones with a lead, and they're the ones that likely to be able to hold it. Army West Point, they've got to find some picks of their own to even things up. If you go in head-to-head with a gold lead, well, RPI, they should be able to take those.
Yeah, and it feels like they have a bit more of the composition that, or it feels like they're playing like we saw West Point play in Game 1, where they've got a lead and they are just stepping on their opponent's throats, right? They have a little bit of CC and then they just pounce. Look at this, like Miss Piggy's Revenge, that's a Rakan. Pops the W, pops the flash, but look at how many little gap closers RPI's composition has. It's just so easy for them to get on top of their opponents.
I'm gonna be honest, if RPI just wanted to brute force that bot into turret right there, they probably could have taken it as well.
I thought they were going to, honestly.
Yeah, they had the inside track, they had the cutoff, the turret's kind of low, but I guess the minion wave was a little bit too far and they didn't want to wait for that one. And for RPI, this isn't a compositional thing. We questioned some of the decision-making in Game 1 because of how that Baron play turned. This game, the decision-making has been on point. They are not giving Army West Point any time to breathe right now.
No, it's really, really crisp. Yeah, and like I said, it just reminds me of how West Point played Game 1, right? Just punishing any sort of misstep, Nailbird looking for Exithy here. Wasn't able to get the Arcane Shift out. Had to flash away and commit that. Miss Piggy's Revenge trying to get into the back line. They get the AD carry down. The feathers are flying. Can they nail down the AD carry? Huge shutdown for the jungler, excuse me. Nailbird able to pick that up. Haven getting a kill right back. That is massive, but Golden Ninja gonna get a tower on the top side. Flashing forward as Coco Lemon gets the stun down. Damage coming down. Thank you very much. 3 huge, and I mean huge kills for AWP, but at what cost?
Might be the Terror Big Wheel is desperately trying to kill Golden Ninja right now. Still no Rylai's.
Hey, yo.
Okay, no, he's safe. Now, Orbital, not Orbital, sorry, 4x4. Look at the time. It's 20 minutes. It's the same as last game where Army West Point find a critical fight.
Wow.
Just rotate right to Baron, pick that up, and RPI, I tried a contest. This time, though, Army West Point, they're not feeling as comfortable. Exithy is there with that TP.
Yeah, I can't say I blame them. Golden Ninja's still there and has the ultimate available. That is on a just absurdly low cooldown, right? I mean, that was when Tryndamere was in pro play. That was one of the first things that brought him into pro play was the ultimate. Ooh, Shockwave not going to find Nailbird. Able to get the Lamb's Respite down and hop over the wall, crucially. Double root down from Big Wheel, delaying a potential collapse, but is it delaying the inevitable here? If BB Pain can land a stun, if Sesame Oil... No, he doesn't have the Shockwave, never mind. Wow. In and out. They had no business surviving that, man.
We just went from a great catch from Army West Point onto RPI to RPI just turning the tides. And Golden Ninja, that man on your screen recalling, was the one who facilitated that because he bought so much time and didn't even die for it. Hex Tech Gates means that Army West Point is rushing towards this Baron really, really quickly, but even with the gates, okay, they are actually going to get their time. I was worried they might not.
I was going to say RPI, man, I thought that could have been it, man. That was hugely important. They did not get that off. I thought RPI were going to take AWP's lunch money, and by lunch money, I mean the Baron. Dragon is up here, though, and now, with only Golden Ninja on this side of the map, and no one, well, Sesame Oil Salad does have the TP up, so could actually join this fight if they wanted to. Top lane's pushed out, mid lane's in an okay spot. If the AD carry can take care of that, they can contest this Dragon. Like we said, AWP, as the game was slipping away from them, they still got the Dragon win condition able to be capitalized upon.
Now, for this Dragon, keep in mind that Nailbird doesn't have Flash or Lamb's Respite available, so 2 massive teamfight ultimates down. They do have the Demonic Ascension from Big Wheel, but RPI has all their ults up, and more importantly, Golden Ninja has flank position.
Yeah, Golden Ninja is looking at Nailbird and saying, man, that looks so delicious. I want to take a bite out of that, and there, just as you wrote it, Paradox able to take the Dragon. Nailbird gets torn apart. Miss Piggy's Revenge gets the charm down, but again, just delaying the inevitable. RPI taking full control of this game. The draw. Haven, very, very nicely cutting that one back. Paradox throws up the Tebow thumbs up. Never a doubt, never worried, and never punished. Big Wheel in some trouble here. There goes the sleep. Paradox, you beauty, you troll, you little monster. Able to shut down Big Wheel as well. Baron next on the menu.
For I was just about to call that what Coco Lemon and Haven did was massive because Paradox was out of the fight. Paradox was not out of the fight. He just went Friday night bowling. And he landed that perfectly. And now, we've been here before, but this time Army West Point without Big Wheel, without that frontliner to walk in.
Now there's nothing they can do. Exithy throws down a very nice ultimate, gets some damage down.
Oh,
Miss Piggy's Revenge going in here and just buying a little bit of time. BB Pain is really, really low. Hang on a second here. Did we speak a little bit too soon? They get the Baron. They just got to get out of dodge. Golden Ninja has the Undying Rage and is going to just rip into Haven, but doesn't have enough here. Stun almost lands. Oh, that Scout of the Week might have turned the game if that landed. And Exithy, just some hickory dickory trickery with the Hex Gates.
The teams are feeling themselves right now forever. You can tell they're aggressive. And keep in mind, RPI's backs are up against the wall. Army West Point isn't. And they're still willing to just stay in there and scrap it out. But RPI on these picks that on the surface didn't look like they'd worked all that well together, didn't look like they had that much synergy. Doesn't matter because the comfort RPI is showing is just so good right now. XD willing to dash inwards, Arcane Shift after Miss Piggy's Revenge and gate back out. The way Golden Ninja was willing to kind of chase in. Still hasn't died, by the way. 5-0 and 5. That's comfort at peak.
Yeah. And there goes the Hullbreaker as well. So you know exactly what Golden Ninja's trying to do. Yeah, exactly. And taking a page out of the Big Wheel book on that Yoda and what he was able to do in game 1. Just going to be so much harder to kill. And again, once he hits level 16, that ultimate is going to be available at pretty much every encounter. It's Tryndamere Gaming, man. 13 years later, this champion is still doing the dang thing. Next to be able to arcade shift out of the way of the Vision of Empire. Another turret goes down. 5-0 in the turret department for RPI. They're in full control of this game. Make it 6. Golden Ninja doing his thing down in the bot lane.
And this game, RPI have actually a pretty strong siege composition, unlike what Army West Point had to deal with last game. With the Ezreal, with the Orianna and Lilia, there is so much zone control, and their siege is so potent without the Baron buff. Right now, they have the Baron buff, which is making it so difficult for Army West Point. They have to send 2 to deal with Golden Ninja, and then now the full court press from RPI on all sides.
Yep, Observer's doing a good job of letting us know just how potent this is. Exit goes down! Coco Lemon just wipes the 80 carry off the map.
Okay, well, there goes the siege of RPI.
Yeah.
That's really unfortunate, and great lane assignments from the side of Army West Point as well, because Coco Lemon is probably the only person who can one-shot the Ezreal in such a way that he can't escape. You have Arcane Shift, you have Flash, it doesn't matter. Coco Lemon pressed R, and there's no counterplay.
Yep, it's just that simple. Pointing and clicking. Love that recall animation. Yeah, so, and it's unfortunate because there really wasn't anything that they could do about that. I thought maybe they were able to, maybe Army West Point was able to translate that numbers advantage into something bigger, but it was not meant to be. Another dragon going to be available here in just a minute's time. RPI looking to recall, grab some tempo. And leave these pushed out lanes to do their thing and provide some cover while they go and grab this dragon. This feels like it's, I mean, this is not Soul. Do you flip the game here for Army West Point? Or like, are there other pressure points that you can create on the map?
The problem for Army West Point right now is that they're so far behind. They're almost 9,000 gold behind. So any team fight is going to feel really bad for them unless they can find a favorable place to fight. Normally, you fight under your turrets. That can kind of make up some of that gold difference. But we already mentioned the strength RPI has on the siege. So that's not actually that safe for Army West Point. So the place they really want to fight now is Baron. That's not up for another 2.5 minutes. And RPI, they're going to be pressuring the entire time. I don't think Golden Ninja is going to give them that 2.5 minutes.
Oh, they are going forward. Paradox able to land. Lilting Lullaby. Oh, the Glacial Fissure lands as well. Coco Lemon throws a jungle camp at Paradox. Nothing doing here. BB Payne playing front line. Again, kind of just a mono tank composition that Army West Point was running to a plum last time around. And this is another reason why you can't really get much done on the map otherwise, is because RPI can just send 4 members onto one part of the map and someone's got to respond to Golden Ninja. Otherwise, he's going to do it himself, beating Big Wheel to death. He looks for the safety of his own towers and he will not find it because Tryndamere can press R. And that is what will happen.
Yeah, and now he's going to be knocking their base. RPI is just trying to stop the backs from Army West Point right now. The longer you can hold them, the more damage Golden Ninja can do. Oh, the backs got canceled.
Yep, I know, and now they're just taking the scenic route. They're just walking over. Golden Ninja actually abandoning ship here. I thought he could have maybe finished that off, especially with Exithy and company just closing in on their own right. I thought they could have mopped that up.
Really, really risky. His ult was already down. Flash wasn't available, so...
RMC, we might have lost him. But, all right, while we wait for RMC to get back, yeah, Golden Ninja with the ult down, with the flash down, would have been risky. Look, with a 10,000 gold lead, I would have just taken that risk, but that's why I'm in the elo I'm in, and these guys are all in Diamond and Masters, so fair enough. All right, you're getting podcast 4x4 for the next little while here. 10,000 gold lead for RPI over Army West Point. And again, the thing that keeps is so striking to me about this game is just how opposite these kind of compositions, not even compositions, but the execution and the way these teams are playing have looked. It has looked so opposite. RPI, if you were to turn off the nameplates and said, oh, who is playing this composition? I would have said, oh, it's Army West Point, because they went with just a high-octane top laner that's in here to toss your salad and just really mess things up. Double charm. This could be the ball game for Miss Piggy's Revenge. Gets the stun down the root and the Lamb's Respite as well. A lot of damage coming down. Sesame Oil Salad trying to get the shockwave in. It does some work, but Big Wheel finally having the drain tap fight that he wants. Army West Point just just wipe them off the map. It's a triple kill. But Golden Ninja might just be there to ruin their days. No one there to stop the backs, though. He has ult. He has flash. He's beaten the Dickens out of the Army West Point AD carry. That is exactly the fight that they were looking for. And they might be able to get Golden Ninja here. Again, he's still got flash. He still doesn't have ghost. He's still got the ultimate. What was that? Where did that come from? What a fight from Big Wheel. That was, I mean, that's the whole dang thing. I just stopped talking about Big Wheel because it was like, well, they're never going to get the fight that they want. And Golden Ninja, now you start to ask the question, look, Golden Ninja, yes, he's got this hull breaker. Yes, he is just a split-pushing demon on this Tryndamere. But do you have to keep him with the team fight? Because I think the only thing that maybe could have pushed that over the edge was the presence of a Tryndamere. But even then, that fight was so one-sided. And I want to call out the Lamb's Respite as well from Nailbird. What an ultimate there. Buying enough time for Big Wheel to go full raid boss on that fight. Amazing stuff here. And now, ladies and gentlemen, things just got interesting. Because that flipped, look, it didn't flip the game on its head. RPI are still immensely ahead. Army West Point still have no towers. There is no map pressure right now. The only pressure they have is the threat of Big Wheel doing what he did. He's got a stopwatch now, so able to potentially wreak more havoc. That Rylai's is so huge for Swain. If you're playing, that's why if you're playing Swain support, like we've seen a little bit, you gotta just rush that Rylai's. Like, it's just way too good. That is your first item. That is your first item. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. It just makes it so hard to get out of. And Coco Lemon, the damage that he was able to do as well. And Haven and Miss Piggy's Revenge, man. Look, they've just kind of been quietly doing their own thing. Quietly just, again, just a self-awareness to just kind of sit back and get carried. They have not really been the stars of this show, but they haven't had to be. Really good stuff from them. Rensselaer Polytechnic. Again, this team was the ECAC CELO representatives last year, and that's what they're looking towards in the long run. They're trying to scale into that competition, but they're in danger of getting knocked out here in this 8-9 matchup. Again, Columbia College, the undefeated Columbia College, awaits in the next round. RPI stacked up 3 Hextech Drakes here. They're not ready to go home. But Army West Point, they are not going down without a fight, man. This game looked so Astro-doomed, but with one team fight, got me thinking differently about this entire game. But RPI, again, let's take stock of things. They've still got everybody on 4 items, effectively, or 3.5 at the absolute worst. But Coco Lemon can just one-tap someone. Nailbird has that wit's end as well, going to actually help a lot with pretty much everybody here except for Golden Ninja. But again, that's what I keep coming back to. Where do they send Golden Ninja on these fights? Does Army West Point even want to contest this Hextech Soul? Hextech Soul is going to feel really, really good on this composition. I just don't know if there's anything that West Point can do about it, especially because Golden Ninja is just railing into that top lane. Do we have RMC back? Hey!
You know what? I think the Hullbreaker just broke my PC as well. I'm back, and it looks like West Point has found some kills.
Dude, Big Wheel. He did Swain things. It was a 4 for 0.
He'll have to do it again.
Crazy.
Because, I mean, right now, Golden Ninja, it feels like I just came back right where I left off. Golden Ninja pushing in. Dragon being threatened again.
Yeah. And so, and my question was, okay, what do they do with Golden Ninja? Because in a 4v4, they can do it, but with no Big Wheel, the fact that Big Wheel is there, he's the one that's not going to be available in this team fight, the big stun lands. Paradox able to get back, get the sleep down. The Glacial Fissure goes out as well. Sesamo Sound is in some trouble, but again, there's trouble in Paradise in the base. If Nailbird can get forward, that is what they're looking for. Exithy doing Ezreal things, zipping and zapping the Quadra, and Golden Ninja doesn't have to do anything else because this might just take care of itself here. Hang on a second. The ultimate is down. The flash is up here. Big Wheel!
Golden Ninja just barely surviving, doesn't have ultimate available, has flash, but Big Wheel doesn't have demonic ascension either, and Tryndamere is healing. Exithy in the base. Is this the final push?
Yeah, I think this could be it here. Like you said, demonic ascension not available. Pentakill to mop it up. Got 4 at the dragon, 1 at the base, and with that beautiful cherry on top, ladies and gents, we are going to game 3.
Well, for that was probably closer than RPI would have liked for a win there. But they did win, and that's the important thing. This championship team, they've said it before, losses, inevitable. It's just part of the process for them. But they are starting to come together. And more importantly, the way they play 4v4. There's too many different champions to ban. And for Army West Point, they looked incredibly prepared game 1 for what RPI brought. But this game 2, how do you answer this sort of chaotic, just strong individual picks that RPI ran?
It's really, really tough. Right. I mean, I don't know, because it feels like West Point, they've got themselves a little bit of an identity, whereas RPI have shown a couple different looks, which gives me a little more confidence in them. And yes, maybe it's some recency bias, but look, in competitive anything, it's what have you done for me lately? I don't care what you did in game 1. In game 2, scaling again into the future, as this RPI squad has done, like you've talked about, the insight you've gotten from their staff, that is the name of their game. RPI punch back. Yes, it got a little bit spicy there, but they do end up taking it to a game 3. We will be right back. This one is going to be a clanger. Don't you go anywhere. The two most anticipated words in amateur League of Legends. Game 3. Here we go. Getting into it here, RMC and 4x4 here with you for the final of this 8-9 matchup. Again, Columbia College, undefeated Columbia College, waits on the other side. That is a problem for a little bit later, though. Right now, West Point took game 1, RPI took game 2, and RMC, when I was in podcast mode, the observation that I came away with was, and that I echoed to the viewers, was it felt like stylistically, just the vibe, to use a scientific term, of these two teams were mirrored in their victories, right? West Point played just an aggressive, just ram it down your throat style in game 1, and RPI played with a similar kind of no holds barred approach in game 2.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of that's facilitated by the top laners, or led at least by the top laners 4x4. And what I'm taking away right now is an unfortunate lesson. It feels like Hullbreaker OP, this particular meta. Both these top laners are really good at their 1v1s. And while they can play teamfight champions, it just never feels like the teamfight champions get a teamfight because they're stuck dealing with the Hullbreaker. So game 3 4x4, are we going to see both top laners just pick lane dominant champions, split pushing champions, who just build that cursed item?
I mean, honestly, I would rather both or none, because then at least you would get to, if we are running with this theory that it is just the way to play top lane in League of Legends in 2023, I would rather they just, again, we fight fire with fire, because when Golden Ninja was playing a carry, it was more fun. When the Hullbreaker is in town, at least, again, just fight fire with fire, give them something to punch against. I imagine the first 3 bans will be the same, the Kaisa, the Zed, and the Shaco. But then after that, let's see if we get those top lane bans. Again, I would be a little surprised because these two top laners feel like, look, you ban away the Yone, I'm going to find something else to play. Ban away the Trend, you can slap Hullbreaker on anything these days. So if that is still a style they want to run with, again, both these teams found a victory running that. They will find a way to wedge that item in.
Okay, now, if there is a change up for it's going to be from Army West Point in the bans. And the champion that actually stood out for me the most on the side of RPI last game was Exithy's Ezreal. Well, that and the Tryndamere. But Exithy's Ezreal at the end picked up the pentakill. And more importantly, we saw what Exithy was able to do even after BB Pain had dropped. Exithy was still able to position so much safer while sniping people with that champion. RPI, on the other hand, they're keeping their brands from last round. They're just going with the Graves. I expect to see a J4. No need to change when you won that last game. There we go.
Exactly. Yeah, the onus is on Army West Point. Indeed, they go for Exithy's Ezreal. Yeah, like you said, that was just doing Ezreal things, just slipping and sliding everywhere. Really awesome play from him, because like you said, even after BB Pain went down, usually as an Ezreal, if your Braum goes down, the alarm bell should start to go off, and you've got an Arcane Shift backwards, but played around that Dragon Pit really, really well. There's that Dragon, or that Jarvan ban, excuse me. I think we're probably going to get the Syndra Orianna handshake again. I think those two mid laners are comfortable doing that. Again, they both won their games on those, but we might get it reversed this time around. Coco Lemon will be piloting the Orianna.
Okay, that surprises me a little bit. And Sesame All Salad, of course, can play the Syndra. The Syndra Orianna matchup's fairly comfortable. I wouldn't be surprised if we did see the handshake reversed. The other thing I kind of want to see from RPI 4x4 is actually the Xayah pick up here, because Aben's doing such a great job with it. And I think that Exithy has really showed his stuff when he's on a champion who has a lot of safety built into the kit, when he doesn't have to rely on the team and allows the rest of the team to play forward. The two champions who can do that, Ezreal and Xayah. Ezreal banned, Xayah would have been my preference.
Yeah, still on the board here. Excuse me. Aurel going to be picked up. It looks like, I imagine that will be in the jungle, even though Paradox didn't win in game 1 with it. Maybe they go to just a more kind of easy to execute composition. There's that Xayah again. Haben going to be 3 for 3 on this champion in this series. Rakan available. Wouldn't be surprised if Coco Lemon picks that up again. Again, the fights towards the end there, you saw kind of what they were trying to do. It was just the top lane got out of control. The Xayah Rakan to me was fine.
Yeah, I agree, but oh, that's a change up 4x4. I was thinking ball delivery system in the jungle. I was actually thinking Bel'Veth for Nailbird, but I was thinking second phases, not this first phase. The Rakan is such a better ball delivery system, and you know what, Miss Piggy's Revenge looked pretty good on that champion back in, what was it, game 1? Oh no, sorry. Was it just last game? 2. Yeah, game 2. So a bit surprised, and of course RPI is just going to go, well, if you're not taking the Rakan, we're going to break up the livers. No, we're not going to give that to you for free. And now, in the second phase, RPI has to pick their AD carry. Army West Point, we said it back in game 1. The counter to Xayah's range. I would love to see Jinx and Caitlyn bans come through.
Renata will be taken away. And again, that just tells me that RPI wants to go with a lot of engage. That's what you draft Renata for, is counter engage. So a little bit like Milio in that sense, right? So just get off me. Jack's going to be banned away. Golden Ninja has had that banned against him 3 times now and opted not to pick it in first phase, still opting to use the top to flex that top lane matchup into the 4-5 so he can get himself that R5 counter pick in theory. Anyway, he has taken a couple blind matchups. Alistar will be banned away, so not going to allow Miss Piggy Revenge onto that champion. You know, that Alistar's an okay ball delivery system as well. The Kayn can be a little interesting, right? Can get into the back line. We'll see what the rest of the bans are here.
Okay, so they're going with the Jinx.
Yeah.
I was actually expecting the Caitlyn because we had seen Army West Point handle the Jinx in game 1. Yone is still on the table if they wanted that particular pick to engage in the backline. Picks like Leona, Nautilus, things that can dive are still all on the table. But this is a change up from RPI. It does have range, Tristana's passive, of course, scaling range with levels, but the early levels are gonna be spicy. Tristana level 3 has one of the highest bursts in the game.
Yeah, you can do a lot of work into that into any champion you go in. And here comes Big Wheel with the Yone. So going back to the pick that won him and his team game 1, we will see what Golden Ninja has in his pocket for the R5 counter pick. It could all come down to this. Now, again, a Brazilian callback. Do we see the Tristana in the top lane potentially?
That would be rough into the Yone. You'd win early, but level 6 things get terrible. If anything, I kind of want to see like a Garen from Golden Ninja. If you can shut down that Yone, it would absolutely make his life hell. You could go something like a Renekton as well if you just wanted to dominate the laning phase. Ooh,
and there's the Camille.
Okay, that's an answer. But you're also a skilling pick, so it does become a bit more skill-based. And personally, I still favor Yone skilling a little bit more. But hey, Camille's got better backline access, so maybe you just trade top laners diving?
Yeah, and then just leave your supports to just peel like their life depends on it. Just get them away from AD carries. Now, actually, both these AD carries do have some self peel, right? Tristana can hop backwards. Haven on the Xayah for the 3rd game in a row. Gonna have the ultimate as well. And so, yeah, these are the compositions and how they're going to shape up. But again, we do get 2 high-octane top laners going at it here. And like you said, there's a lot of backline access for both of these teams and going into some pretty potent AD carries as well. But it doesn't – the power is very much not concentrated in the AD carry position. You have a winning formula for both of these teams. As far as this series is concerned, is multiple threats being able to shine. And both of these teams have that.
Yeah, and I kind of love the fact as well that we do see the Tristana here, because I was thinking just in terms of self-peel was Ezreal and, of course, the Xayah, but Tristana has a lot of self-peel as well. The Buster Shot is going to be very, very effective. Yeah. And if you look at Army West Point, it feels kind of like game 1 where the only reliable or very reliable engage you have is going to be that Yone. Yes, Nautilus depth charge is point and click. You can't run away from that. But we've seen the Rel and the Syndra run interference with their respective AD carries in the past. Both them together, again, makes it very difficult for anybody to actually access that back line safely. For me, though, 4v4, my eyes are on this Rel, because we saw it in game 1 for Paradox, and it didn't get the early pressure they needed. And these games have been very snowbally. The early game has been critical to whichever team ends up winning.
Yeah, I do think it could do a lot in this game. Again, you don't have to be the kind of that primary engager, right? If BB Payne can find some flanks on the Rakan, you can attack from multiple angles, right? With a well-placed hook shot, you can get over a wall with Golden Ninja. And I think that's what Rel can really thrive on, is multiple angles of attack, right? If you are that primary engage, sometimes it could be potent, but it could be a little telegraphed. If you can just run some other champions with interference, I think it makes her life a little bit easier. Now, that being said, yeah, I think just in game 1, again, I think it was execution. I didn't hate the Rel pick. I think everything was there for them to make that happen. But Nailbird had a heck of a game on the Graves, kind of bullied her out of the first couple buffs there. But we'll see how this one goes here. Game 3 on the cards here in just a little bit. On the other side, this Kayn pick. RMC, have you any thoughts about this one?
I don't think we're going to see Nailbird be able to bully out the Rel at level 1 like we saw in game 1 with the Kayn. Kayn does take a bit of time to come online, of course, after his transformation coming through, and that might slow things down. And if the last 2 games have been more of Nailbird ganking the lanes and trying to get them ahead, if it's on try in game 2, this game will be more about his lanes sheltering the Kayn till he can grow up and become that late game carry threat, because we've all seen Kayn's go late and become an absolute menace. And This game, you could go blue, Kane, if you wanted. There's a lot of this high priority assassination targets. Even Camille, who does get a little bit tankier, if you build enough damage that you can get her low enough, the rest of your team can just pile on, especially with something like a Yone. But red has always worked, and again, red would make things more obnoxious. Your team could use an off tank, so personally, while I think blue could work and would actually probably be more fun for Nailbird, I think I'd like to see red Kane come through.
I mean, if we played that lethality Graves, man, that was, with the execution on the Black Cleaver, I think he likes making targets go pop. I think he wants to see every single one of these relatively squishy members for RPI just get deleted as fast as possible. But I do agree with you. I think, to have a bruiser effectively in the jungle, just keep things alive a little bit more, just again, extend these fights a little bit more, allow Haben to rain autos down, allow Big Wheel to do his thing, get that backline access, and just chop up the rest of the RPI squad, the better. On the other side, again, Exithy, you've got a lot of pushing power here, and a lot of split push solo lane potential here. I see potential 1-3-1 in this composition's future with the Tristana and the Camille.
Yeah, definitely, especially we mentioned with Tristana's sort of safety and self-peel, the Buster Shot, buying her a lot of space. Yeah, and they'll have pretty decent siege as well with the Syndra poke. There's good wave clear, though, from Army West Point. So, yeah, I don't think we're going to see that many siege situations. I think it's going to be much more poke-oriented, or pardon me, not poke, pick-oriented, or side lane pressure. And speaking of side lane 4x4, if we're talking about split pushers, that's some bad news for you. Both Camille and Yone could build Hullbreaker, and we know Big Wheel did it the last time. I wouldn't be surprised if Golden Ninja ends up picking Hullbreaker's second or third item just to match pressure later.
Yeah, I wouldn't be either. But again, if both of them build it, that's fine, because then we just get those two, and then the hugely just roided up minions going at each other. I just want to see one champion kind of run over it, right? And then you've got some poor, you've got Big Wheel built it again, and Golden Ninja with no ultimate is just sitting there like, guys, I got nothing, right? Misses his hook shot, and then you're just toast without that extra power. We're holding for a pause, almost there to kick off Game 3 here. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun this series, and again, both these teams kind of pulling out all the stops here and going with the formulas that won them their respective games. And one. I mean, I don't know. It would be nice to see a little bit more out of Haben, not because he has had to, but just because I want to see everybody get their moment in the sun. Do you think we've talked about Haben enough? In Game 1, again, he just kind of absorbed pressure and did his thing.
Yep. Even in Game 2, I actually think his laning went much better in Lane 2
much better.
With the Zaya Rakan. But unfortunately, they didn't win that one either. So it would be nice for Haben to get his moment in the sun. But I think the supports, let's talk a little bit about supports, because I think BB Pain and Miss Piggy's Revenge have both had epic games. In Game 1, Miss Piggy's Revenge is away. He just stepped up with that Alistair. It was a joy to watch. And last game as well with the Braum for BB Pain did a lot of peeling and created a lot of space. A couple of fights come to mind where he actually holds the Glacial Fissure till the enemy team's fully committed to get 4-man knockups. And that actually works really well with Exidy's Ezreal last game, where it gave him the space he needed to Arcane Shift initially, buy that space, and then slowed them down for him to actually just kite back with his boots and own 2 feet. Now this game, BB Pain gets his Rakan. And one thing we haven't talked about was BB Pain plays a lot of Rakan. Most played champion here in the ECAC, and in this critical game, he's going to show us why.
This champion is extremely strong, and again, lots of points of attack, for Rensselaer Polytechnic. The effectively reigning champions on the verge of going out here, but with a heroic Game 2 last stand. Well, some a little bit of trickery here for both these teams, trying to make things happen. Surely they are just looking for deep vision, right, RMC? That's all they're looking for.
Well, that's all they'll find for unfortunately. The first 2 games, they were playing just deep point defense the entire time. And this game, on the critical game, they are going hard. I love this.
Respect.
From Army West Point. They are just hard committing to this right now. This is not just poke my head in, looking for vision. This is, I am looking for kills, and I'm looking to take your buff.
Well, they do get that division, like you said. That's probably all they will find. And RPI, just a little emote party. Tristana doing that incredibly annoying voice line that drives me insane. But Yeah, but they don't really get anything else out of it, and that will be all she wrote. But like you said, I respect that both of these teams, like you said, in the critical game, taking no prisoners, opting for a potentially very risky, potentially disastrous level 1. But after all that, nothing happens.
Yeah, but hopefully that confidence is going to translate into the laning phase as well for it. Because the fact that they were willing to do that speaks on. The fact that both teams went for it means that they felt that they were evenly matched and that they could just outhands the difference. For now, though, it's just, you know, basic starts. Jungle is starting on opposite sides of the map as well, so we're unlikely to see those early skirmishes, and it's going to be down to the individual laning.
Yeah, Piggy's Revenge not able to grab the hook on that one. BB Pain trading right back, but with the Glacial Augment, even those Nautilus autos just get somehow even more annoying. Exit like we said, the early range for the Tristana isn't fantastic, but able to dump some shots into Miss Piggy's Revenge. And they hit level 2 first. Very much out in front in the very early goings here. Big Wheel and Golden Ninja, they have been the stars of the show in this series. Looking to make an impact in a similar way in this game. Doran's Blade versus Doran's Shield in this one.
And it's worth noting as well, Golden Ninja isn't running Ignite. A lot of times with Camille's, we see TP Ignite taken instead of Flash. So Golden Ninja is not saying that I have to crush and win this game. Instead, the Flash offers more tactical repositioning that tells me that Golden Ninja might be looking for the critical targets later on. Coco Lemon and Haben with that Flash instead. And down bot, Exithy is still running Ghost. So not the combat summoner of heal for the trades. He thinks that, oh, Triss is strong enough by herself. The repositioning later is more important.
We've seen that from Exithy on the Jinx as well. Feels like, you know what? With enough peel and with enough range, I can, that is what I'm going to opt for. Like you said, that late repositioning we saw it do wonders in game 1. See what it'll do in game 2. And in the mid lane, again, Syndra versus Orianna. The more things change, the more they stay the same. These two champions, Death, Taxes, and these two running the Rift. For over 10 years, these champions have terrorized your solo queue games and your pro games. But we do have the flip. Sesame Oil Salad going to be on the Syndra. And we've seen Coco Lemon with the Syndra played extremely aggressively. Play it kind of like you would want a Syndra to be played early on. Going for the Electrocute. But Sesame Oil Salad grabbing the Airy. But has really, I mean, again, once they hit level 6, really just looking for opportunities to go for the all. Oh, hang on a second. Paradox on the Rel. Able to get the stun down. A lot of CC coming down. Man, if the Scout of the Week was still available for Sesame Oil Salad, I think that might have been it.
Fully agree. Now, one thing to note is that we have seen Sesame Oil Salad play the Syndra within the ECAC as well, but Coco Lemon has only played the Orianna once, and it was up against Blue Hens Varsity, where they actually lost the game. So, a lot of confidence in Coco Lemon to have improved since then, or perhaps maybe that was just a bad game. And they're saying that we still trust this critical pick at a critical time.
Yeah, absolutely. And it could be such a game-changing pick. Again, with that Shockwave. Not as fantastic ball delivery systems here, but so again, just really confidence in Coco Lemon saying, no, we trust you to be self-sufficient. But with a top side like Big Wheel and Nailbird, I mean, you really just kind of have to sit back and do your job on this game. On this Yone, going to be applying immense amounts of pressure. Both junglers able to get their initial recalls here. And how about Coco Lemon immediately with a 5-minute lost chapter? Very, very nicely done.
I mean, Coco Lemon was kind of low on mana, burnt everything to get that early shove. Now, for you see, not a great ball delivery system, but a wheel, a ball can be a wheel, right? So big wheel, that's a ball. So that I guess if big wheel sends itself in, that's a ball delivery system, right?
Very well could be. Combo goes down from Miss Piggy's Revenge, but BB Pain able to battle dance back into safety. Maybe that hook is up, looking for Exithy. That early cooldown gives him enough comfort. Oh, hang on a second. He might just go up and auto him. What was that? Did he just flash like 2 pixels forward? Now, never mind. Nailbird coming in. That is really tragic. Exithy returning fire because Paradox is in the building. There goes the root. Exithy going forward. Doesn't need the flash. Nailbird's in trouble. And it all goes pear-shaped for Army West Point. The feathers being pulled back here. Haven having an MVP moment here. Turning this trade around. Hang on a second. Did I speak too soon? Miss Piggy's Revenge gets the hook down on Exithy. Might be enough here. Fantastic root. It's a double kill for the Army West Point 80 carry. And they might have more here, RMC. If he can get in range, one more net, one more hook might do it. It will not be enough.
The cooldowns, it just came up. Poor, he was so close, and I bet right now, Miss Piggy's Revenge is beating himself over for that flash. Mid lane, what happened? Coco Lemon with the solo kill. I'm sorry I doubted you, Coco Lemon. You evidently know how to play that Orianna.
Wow, extremely well. And I actually didn't see what Sesame Oil Salad had in his inventory. Maybe he was taking advantage of the fact that he just had more gold in more power in his inventory. I don't know if Sesame Oil Salad had the lost chapter when he died.
No, I don't believe he did. I mean, he didn't have time to TP back into lane, so huge props to Coco Lemon. And you often don't think of the Orianna solo kill, especially not a rundown like that in the mid lane.
No,
but those
that shockwave hits like a truck now, man.
True, and the slowdown is enough for you to keep stacking that clockwork passive. Just those autos hurt as well. So huge play from Army West Point once again, holding the trigger across the map simultaneously.
Very well done. No, making us work for sure. And I wanted to see Haben have a little bit of their moment in the sun. And how about it? A double kill to start things off. Feeling really, really good. Already onto the Noon Quiver. Looks like it's heading towards what I believe is going to be... Oh, hang on a second here. Big Wheel doesn't land the ultimate with the Soul Unbound. We'll get one more shot of tower aggro. Nailbird waiting around as well with no ultimate. Nailbird does have his. Maybe they go for this if they can somehow interrupt the back, but not to be.
Well, Ninja has TP, but it's a bit of a risky situation to TP into this one. Paradox now pushed off his red again. It's not the level 1 push off, but Nailbird got around to it eventually.
And Nailbird not giving up either. So Smil Sound, BB Payne coming around here. This could be a game-defining turn here for the skirmish. And he goes, and another kill for Coco Lemon.
Didn't he just use it? The cooldown. Perfect time from Coco Lemon.
It is. It's
level 1. It's already back up, and because of that, the pressure up top. Get in the jungle, they take the red, they get the kill, and now they're just going to fall right back to Herald. Army West Point, efficiency at its finest. And for RPI, unfortunately, they're not finding anything else on the other side of the map. Dragon is up, but Paradox was part of that topside skirmish, and so they can't collapse and trade objectives.
No, they've got nothing right now. Nailbird looking really, really good on this Kane as well. Looking very safe, able to grab himself what should be that Herald. No, the Herald not going to be up for another little bit here. Just grabbing the stuff. Excuse me. Exit B. Goes forward, gets the charge down onto Haben's head. Miss Piggy's Revenge. Hang on a second here. Able to get the root down. Depth charge. The CC charge is just too much. Ignite goes down. Flash blow by Exit. The big buster shot. And now he's got some backup. He might live this yet. Auto's going down onto Miss Piggy's Revenge. Big Magnet Storm down as well from Paradox. And Exit will get a kill after all of that.
But 4x4, it interrupts RPI, who wanted to do the Dragon, and even now, they have to be careful. Vision onto Nailbird, they know the Kane's in the area, but all you can do is walk away and watch as Army West Point complete the circuit. They get the kills, they get the Herald, and now they're going to get Dragon to boot.
Nailbird gets another objective here. Able to grab himself back. Coco Lemon into a little bit of trouble here. Here goes the all-in from Sesame Oil Salad. Didn't have enough there for the all-in from the ultimate. That was the right move. It would not have resulted in a kill. But Nailbird, like I said, going to mop up that Dragon. First one over to Army West Point. They are up a cool 1,000 gold in a Dragon.
I feel like, this is the first time laning phase has really favored Army West Point, almost across the board. Because normally in the bot lane, Haben's struggling a little bit. But the early 2 kills puts him in the lead for a change, and because Exity has opted to kind of spec into the... Oh my goodness, I forgot the item name. The Scythe? What is Sickle? Sickle, not Sickle. I am blanking horrifically right now. Cull, thank you. Because he opted into the Cull, he doesn't have the same combat stat. So we're not seeing Exity actually get that early pressure you'd expect from a Tristana in this bot lane, and that's what's allowing Army West Point right now that priority that they seem to have in almost all their moves.
No, absolutely. And now with the Storm Razor completed as well, the item spikes are very much in favor of Army West Point. They've got themselves the Herald as well. They are fully in control.
And what are they going to do with it? I guess is the question right now. No objectives for them to really push up and take. The lanes are fine, and I think for Army West Point, they're okay with this. They're just waiting for Nailbird to actually just convert, and that's when we'll see them really ratchet up the pressure. So for the next 3 minutes, there's a window for RPI to try and get a bit more aggressive.
Oh, absolutely. Miss Piggy's Revenge. I mean, all the ultimates are up, and they're on such short cooldowns here. Big Wheel doesn't have TP, but that's really kind of the only thing that isn't in Army West Point's favor. Because no, they have everything going right now. And Exithy and BB Payne, they know that, right? Just not approaching this wave. They have no eyes on Miss Piggy's Revenge, so they are not going to step up to this wave. Only when they see him do they opt to do that. Meanwhile, on the top lane, we haven't really talked much about this matchup. Hang on a second here, Nailbird. Able to get the almost trespass down. The Hex Tech ultimatum does absolutely nothing. It does buy enough time here, and they juggle the aggro beautifully. Big Wheel able to take the last couple shots.
Okay, yep. You know what? Army West Point, that's one way to do it. And Big Wheel, again, applying that pressure we've seen throughout this series. Much like game 1 4x4, we're seeing the Herald drop early. They're trying to unlock Big Wheel ASAP. I don't know if he's got enough for his first mythic yet. I think he will off of this. And that's going to be a problem for RPI now in the other lanes as well.
Oh, absolutely. No, RPI, they're in a world of hurt right now. And Exithy as well. The CC chain here from this Nautilus is just lethal. Exithy, he did survive it once. Can he survive it again? Ignite down. Still has the ghost. Pops it at the last second. Paradox showing up here. BB Payne trying to buy some time. He will pay for it with his life. But Exithy gets a huge explosive charge down onto Haven. And a couple more autos will do it. Miss Piggy's Revenge is in trouble and will go down eventually. Oh, hang on a second. Maybe not here. Here come the TPs. Coming in are the mid laners. Here comes Sesame Oil Salad and Coco Lemon just to dissuade anything else.
So 1 for 1 in the bot lane for now. It's safe, but the TPs that were expended, unfortunately, you know, both mid laners had to move down here, and that does mean that the mid lane is going to be a little bit more isolated. Nailbird going through hunting for Paradox or something that we haven't seen too much of aside from that one red buff steal.
No, and I'm surprised we haven't seen maybe more of it. Well, maybe this is why, because it was potentially a little advised here. Paradox not able to do a ton of damage. Nailbird finally got himself that Eclipse, and he will in fact go Red Cane, Bruiser, and yeah, just the safer option here. A little more durability. Let your damage dealers do their thing, especially now that, I mean, look, Coco Lemon and Haben, they're both 2-0, right? They're 2-0 and 2-1 onto their first item spikes. You've got other sources of damage. And Big Wheel, I mean, he's just kind of along for the ride right now, but we know that he could be so explosive on this unit.
Oh yeah, I'm just waiting for the Hellbreaker, man.
Yep.
He won't be along for the ride. He will be the ride at that point.
Yes.
I'm also really glad that Nailbird went red, because I think it's one of the reasons that he got out of that situation and why he's willing to get so aggressive. Because if RPI don't have vision on where multiple members of Army West Point are, they're going to be hesitant about pulling the trigger on this Kayn and how much they want to commit. And look at the vision right now, 4x4. It's very aggressive from Army West Point, and on that invade, RPI weren't able to track where the bot lane for Army West Point was.
Yeah, now as a result, you see the bottom lane river. The bottom river is just completely lit up blue. That second dragon looking like it's going to go over to Army West Point. RPI going to have a very tough time contesting this fantastic deep vision set up by the team on the blue side. The only thing that maybe they could do is trade an objective here. There goes the Herald, going to be started up here. But if Army West Point have their way, they might get both of them.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to be able to rotate in time. I think they're just going to sneak this one. It's Cloud Dragon anyways, and you've seen Army West Point kind of not care too much about it. Great if you can get it. Not the end of the road if you can't. RPI, though, that lack of vision is choking them out right now.
Yeah.
They just backed off their dragon. They could have taken if they committed, but because they weren't sure, they're just going to let it be. And Army West Point, it feels like another circuit where they're going to get Herald. They're going to get a lot of damage into mid lane. They're going to get Dragon. And heck, if Sesame Oil Salad's not careful, they might get a pick as well.
Yeah, thankfully he does back off for RPI, but it just feels like they're PvEing right now, right? Like you said, it's a circuit. Okay, we get this objective. Okay, we get this objective. And that's what buying pink wards and good support play will do. Sesame Oil Salad gets the Cat of the Week onto Coco Lemon, but really nothing much else. Army West Point playing completely in control here. 2 dragons, 2 heralds, 1 tower, compared to 0 of each for RPI. And, I mean, the gold is telling the story right now. 3,500 plus the 2 dragons. That's the lead for Army West Point. They are very much in control right now. And an Ocean Soul will be on the cards in at minimum. At minimum 10 minutes.
I feel betrayed, 4i4. This is not how the series got here. We got here with blood and chaos, and now Army West Point was like, okay, enough. It's serious time. And their macro has been very, very clean. Unfortunately for RPI, it feels like they're a bit behind the ball. They're stuck in the series meta that has developed, and they're still looking for those individual skirmishes a little bit. And it comes back to that point about Rel, that hesitation I had about Paradox picking this. They feels like they want to skirmish, but it feels like they're not playing the jungle aggressively enough to facilitate that. And then they're falling behind in these sort of bigger map plays.
And speaking of falling behind, 50 CS down to Nailbird. Nailbird has had the complete run of the jungle. Paradox has nothing to farm right now. I mean, just absolutely nothing. And maybe on this back can get the mythic item. Yep, there it is. And the exit thing. Yeah, you can't do anything. No, you hit the nail right on the head, RMC. The macro from Army West Point has been really, really strong, and it's really come on the back of Nailbird. He was an MVP in game 1, but what he has been able to do as far as just, again, commandeering, and he and Miss Piggy's Revenge, really, want to shout them out too.
Yeah.
Like you said, the vision is just suffocating. RPI, they are, to put it lightly, behind the 8 ball in this game.
And for Nailbird specifically, he's only going to get stronger as this game goes on. And I'm looking at RPI right now, and I don't know if they want this to scale to late game. They have a Camille, they have a Syndra, great and good, but I'm a little bit concerned that they're really going to struggle dealing with the Kane. And for Exithy, on this Tristana, it really hasn't shown its stuff yet. And granted, you ran with the lethal tempo instead of the Hill Blades. You weren't looking to necessarily crush and dominate the lane. But late game, I don't fancy your odds in the team fights up against the likes of the Xayah.
Let's see how Big Wheel likes his Tech Ultimatum goes in. Paradox coming in to help as well. Does not find the Fate Sealed and has to blow the Flash. We know who else has Flash. That's Paradox.
Wait.
Back in. Hang on a second. Yeah. What was that? Big Wheel gets the shield off and is able to get the kill. Stop it. Is he going to get away with this? Is Miss Piggy's Revenge actually going to bail him out? Meanwhile, on the bottom side, Coco Lemon almost gets one tap. Oh my goodness.
No shot!
There's no chance. There's no chance. Big Wheel. Oh, I was going to lose my mind if he got another one out of that. And now, Supportal Combat to finish it off. That is the fitting end that we deserve. Sesame Oil Salad able to grab themselves a kill as well. Aben. Oh, he's in trouble. He has to flash away. Exithy chasing him down. A couple of Marauders will do it. Exithy, 4th kill for the RPI bottom laner.
And while all that happened as well, 4i4 in the bot lane, Sesame Oil Salad handled a 1v2 and killed Nailbird as well. So why 4i4? Do they always do this? This entire series, it's always been chaos across the map. Just as I was worrying for Sesame All Salad, just as worrying for Exithy, the two of them pop off and show us that hope is not dead just yet.
Lord in heaven.
TP?
Yeah, but it might be dead right now. Big Wheel did not like the fact that he didn't get his pop-off play. Coco Lemon gonna grab the kill. 3-0-0 on this Orianna. Like you were saying, RMC, a heck of a performance from this champion, from this player on this champion. A pick that they've only played once, but in a high-leverage situation, being trusted to do a lot with it, and boy, have they.
And 4i4, bad news, Big Wheel has completed his Hullbreaker.
Here we go, baby.
He's going right back to that top lane. He wants that isolated long lane. And for Golden Ninja, he's already been struggling a little bit on this Camille pick, which is not ideal. It's going to get a lot worse in the foreseeable future. And RPI, I don't know if they have a good answer. I mean, I didn't expect Sesame All Salad to be able to handle Nailbird, but he did. So maybe he can just wave clear and hold off Big Wheel, but I don't fancy his odds.
No, I mean, you saw how much it took to kill him when, I mean, before he got an item that made him stronger when he was isolated.
Yeah.
This is going to get way, way uglier. Yeah, like you said, the best thing they can do is just buy time. Looking over to the future, though, look, Sesame Oil Salad and Exithy, they are potential win conditions. And I look at Exithy as well. I mean, especially, I should say. But again, coming down to this objective again, Ocean Soul, incredibly valuable. Both these top laners, well, no, just the one, just Golden Ninja, has TP. But even then, I don't feel good about saying, oh, I'm Golden Ninja, I've got TP advantage, because if I leave this top lane, Big Wheel is just going to ram himself down my inhibitor's throat.
And even if you don't leave, he's ramming him down your throat. Golden Ninja having to run for the hills.
He's got nothing here, has to flash away, Soul Unbound, not going to find anything. Here comes the rest of RPI. Looking for a potential dragon take here. Nailbird getting shifty in the pit. Sesame oil salad looking for a target to pick off. Paradox looking for a way in. Doesn't necessarily find it. Gets a stun down on a Coco Lemon. Nailbird can't find the back line. Does get in there. Finally at the last second, but Exithy able to kite backwards very well. Completely safe in that pit. And now with a couple more autos and the CC down onto Nailbird. Oh, that's a lot of shielding. That is Bruiser Kane, ladies and gentlemen. A little more obnoxious, but not obnoxious enough. Coco Lemon able to grab the kill. Exithy might be what RPI needs to get back into this game. Exithy's got a triple kill. He's looking for more. He's got Haven on the menu with one more rocket jump. He could do it. BB Payne cannot find the distance for the W, but they will get the dragon.
Reset, but no mana 4x4 to pick up the Quadra. But you said eyes on Exithy, and Exithy delivered when it was clutch. Golden Ninja forced out the top side, but they only lost the inner, whereas all those kills, all that extra bounty gold that's going the way of RPI, that's gone a long ways towards leveling this game.
Here we go, RMC. Both these teams have a win condition now. RPI, they were looking a little lost in the sauce, right? Golden Ninja tried to fight fire with fire again, and went for a more carry top laner in that mid-game spike. This is when Camille is supposed to shine, but she's got nothing to do right now. Not against Big Wheels Yone, creating a lot of pressure, but that's the question now. Will it be enough, right? Because now Exithy playing really well on these slippery, shifty AD carries. Played the Ezreal phenomenally. Ended the game with a pentakill in game 2, and is doing more of that here in game 3. 7 of his team's 9 kills for the Tristana.
For that question that you pose, the devil's in the details. Because if we think back to game 1, Exithy was very far ahead on a Jinx, an even bigger hyper carry. And Big Wheel, with only, I think, 2 kills under his belt, managed to turn the game, finding the pick onto that vulnerable AD carry. This time, Exithy has options and has tools. Is it enough to make sure that Big Wheel doesn't turn the tides again in those team fights? And for Big Wheel, somebody needs to go answer him right now.
Yeah, he's just playing PvE. He's just doing his thing here in the bottom lane. Another few hundred gold into his pocket. He's ready to go to his 3-item spike here. I mean, 3-item spike. The whole breaker was the spike. He's ready to get 3 items.
Yeah, it's basically worth 2 items, right? But you're going to be alone on that side right there. Now, Big Wheel potentially looking for a flank. That mid lane turret's a little bit low. They can't quite brute force it into the likes of Sesame Oil Salad or Exithy, but if RPI is slow on the rotate, if they lose their last inner turret, Army West Point have full control over the objectives at that point.
Let's see how these objective setup comes to pass. Again, Army West Point very much in control, so they're able to get the majority of the vision here, but it's not like RPI have absolutely no clue. Baron is up, but neither team feeling phenomenal about the idea of flipping the game on a Baron right now, because that realistically would be what happens, assuming no picks are had beforehand. Dragon's not up for another 2.5 minutes, and RMC, again, you're not really looking for anything here. You're just looking to kind of dot your I's and cross your T's. If a Wayward Rakan finds his way into your jungle, great. Maybe you take care of that, blow a crucial quickness, but right now, both teams just taking care of their fundamentals. Because this Baron, I think it might be next on the menu, but you see right now, they're not looking for anything. It's just taking what the game gives you, taking what the other team will give you.
Yeah, and for Army West Point, they're also buying time for Big Wheel to start pressuring off on the other side of the map. Time favors Army West Point and that Yone. So for RPI, they're the ones who kind of need to start looking for the engage, and they have to play carefully. If they can bait out the shockwave, Exithy can clean house.
Hang on a second here. Paradox goes in. A lot more CC coming in from the Rakan. Gets everybody with the quickness. Sesame Oil Salad doesn't find much of the scout of the week here. And as a result, Coco Lemon's going to go monstrous here with the shockwave. And now Big Will has arrived. Fate sealed over the wall. Sesame Oil Salad's in trouble on the other side. Miss Piggy's Revenge setting up the kills for Haven. And it just goes all Army West Point's way. Golden Ninja didn't even get a sniff of that fight.
Gonna be honest, for did Big Wheel need to show up? No. But he did. And by then the fight was done. Miss Piggy Revenge tunneled on Exithy, did what they needed to do, which was CC them, and that allowed Coco Lemon to get the burst off. We were just saying, if you survive the shockwave and you position well, you can clean up the fight. They had no chance. No. That's an almost clean wipe. Only Golden Ninja left alive to just try and clear the wave. Baron going the way of Army West Point, and therefore we might have hit that tipping point.
Yep, it certainly feels like it. A 4 for 0. and I'm glad you called out Miss Piggy's Revenge, because the Shockwave was kind of where I was looking. Haven had those kills set up by Miss Piggy's Revenge, but like you said, just tunneling onto Exity, because we had identified that. That was the win condition for RPI, and just did not get to play the game there. Just did not get to right-click, did not get to do Tristana things, pop the Ghost, and just walk to his death, basically.
It's all that vision setup that we were harping about. We were harping about it for a reason. It's not exciting, but it's facilitating these plays. And now at Dragon, once again, Army West Point getting in there, starting to clear out the vision. And if you're RPI, you're fueling the pressure. This is Soul Point. It's not Soul itself, so you can afford to give this up. And you might want to if you can't actually step in there with proper vision. If you get another ace here, the game is practically over.
Yes. Yeah, to put it lightly. Yeah, there's absolutely nothing else that could be done here. And with now 3 items, 3.5 items on this Yone, got himself a Mythic as well, making everything in that inventory just a little bit stronger here. Big Wheel is in the house. Golden Ninja does have the TP, but again, if they can just find a pick, there's nothing that they can do. Yeah, and RPI, no, look, we have no business taking this because it is just that third dragon. It's not all that important. We are going to be just fine because they've still got Baron buff, right? So if that fight goes sideways, not only do you die over a meaningless dragon, but it could be the game.
Yeah, and I love that RPI recognized that, and instead of attempting that, they just pushed out the lanes, and it's buying them time. So hopefully it will be enough time. Nailbird stepping up a little bit too far, but it's Red Kane, and he's fine with taking a couple of shots to the back.
Yeah, he's going to be able to heal that up just fine. Bruiser Kane got that Black Cleaver going as well. He's at about 2.5 items, and that's where the rest of the team is, 2.5, 3 items. And of course, Big Wheel doing a very nice job of just, again, pressuring where he needs to up a full item. But Golden Ninja, I mean, I don't know, kept up in CS, but it really hasn't felt like he's had an impact on this game, unfortunately.
Yeah, and that CS comes at the expense of the turrets, right?
Yeah.
Not to say that Golden Ninja is sacrificing those turrets willingly, but it's more just that
there's nothing you can do.
Exactly. It's just overwhelming. Now, this last series of plays, though, has not been terrible for RPI. Yes, it looks like they're losing out pressure on the map. It looks like they lost the Dragon, and they did. But they burnt out the Baron. And Army West Point only got the push on the bot side. Big Wheel wasn't able to get meaningful damage either. So that's a win in RPI's books right now. You stifled that, and you need to continue stifling that. You need to continue surviving right now because you're still down 9k, and you don't really want to fight this unless you've got a numbers advantage.
Yeah, no, a lot of conditions have to be in place if you want to take this fight for RPI. You've got to keep tracking Big Wheel, got to keep, you know, if hopefully you've done the business and, you know, ping down the TP timers. Because right now he's just, again, doing his Hullbreaker thing in that side lane. You got to send a couple members to take care of him. He's looking for something even over that wall, right? Could just Soul Unbound ult over, grab a kill, one-shot someone, and just hoover on back. And right now, this is what we're going to see. RMC is just Big Wheel getting pressure and RPI trying to respond to it. Is there any sort of configuration where, I don't know, I mean, where West Point oversteps, right? I mean, where RPI can get something here? Because right now, again, you're just surviving. It feels like you said, that is the win. The win is not losing.
So there are scenarios which happens, but as you said, it has to be Army West Point overstepping at this point. It's difficult for me to see a way for RPI to manufacture their own way back into this game if Army West Point don't mess up. They're doing a great job, by the way, of slowing things down. They're doing everything right, which is why we're not seeing Army West Point find anything substantial. But at the same time, Army West Point is also not making any mistakes, and they're happy to let the game continue scaling. They're good with that, and they can just wait for Baron to come up in 2 minutes. That's what Army West Point is waiting for. So that's the time that RPI needs to play around. And I think for RPI, you're just trying to power farm as much as you can, and then you're looking for that fight at the Baron, or you're looking for the Hail Mary at Dragon, which would be the much worse option, but the one that Army West Point is likely to force you into.
Yep. Like you said, okay, here's a potential overstep, and Nailbird maybe was just waiting for them to bite on the bait. BB Pain has absolutely nothing. There goes the Hextech Ultimatum. In onto Exithy. That's the priority target. Oh my goodness! How did Big Wheel get over there? He got everybody with the Fate sealed. They expected that not at all. Everything went down onto Exithy, and then Big Wheel over the top with the Fate sealed. Seals indeed RPI's fate. That will be the ball game. That's GG. A 5-for-0 ace. Big Wheel out of nowhere picks up the triple kill and propels West Point to a 2-1 series win.
Big Wheel is become speed. 4x4. He rolled right on in and he rolled right on over the backline. All the damage that's. Yeah, you're saying that, RPI wasn't expecting him to show up. I wasn't expecting him to show up 4x4. He just came in like a wrecking ball. And the game, we were set. We were ready to wait 2 minutes for an objective fight. And Big Wheel was like, nah, I'm done. I want dinner. Let's end this.
Yeah, Big was like, yeah, let's go home, man. It's Friday night. I want to get some. I want to go out and celebrate, baby. And what a win, and what a deserved win. 2-1 here over RPI. It was a very hard-fought series, right? Games one and two. And actually, all three of these games, to be fair, were kind of one-sided. But Game 3 was closer. Both these teams brought their A game. Exit almost brought it back there for RPI. But for you, what did West Point do well? Was it just as simple as, look, okay, Exithy's a threat. We've got a gajillion ways to get into that back line.
Well, I think Game 1 showed us that Army West Point did their preparation well. Their draft was good, and the way they handled RPI's draft was really solid as well. And Game 3 showed us the discipline that this team can have. And the fact that they adapted in that series, to me, is what really impressed me in this particular series. Now, of course, we've got to shout out Big Wheel as well, because that man was an absolute menace on this Yone. And Colombia is good, but Colombia might want to look into banning that particular champion.
Yeah, I think that's kind of a no-brainer there. You've got to dedicate some draft resources to that champion. And look, he's usually picking it 4-5. So yeah, maybe you don't even need to blow any bans that early. Yeah, but again, Colombia is undefeated. They are coming up next here for Army West Point. It is going to be one heck of a series. We'll see if they have what it takes to pull it off. RMC, any final thoughts about RPI here? They fought valiantly. Like you said, they've got their sights set on bigger and better things. There are some positives to take away from this one for them, though. And for me, again, it's in that bottom lane. We talked about it in the green room. This is their shining point here on this team.
Yeah, and I think they had moments where everybody else shone as well. There were some great shockwaves from Sesame Hill Salad back in Game 2. Golden Ninja, I think, as well, had... So, I liked his Trinamir a lot. And even Game 3, the Camille, he did nothing wrong with it. He was just kind of targeted a little bit. If anything, I wish
he got big wheeled.
Yeah, well, he got big wheeled with the help of Nailbird. He got nailed and wheeled in that particular one. If anything, I'd like to see a bit more from Paradox, because I know he's capable of more. We've seen it before. This guy came up through the RPI development program. And I think this series, the rel picks kind of stifled his ability to show off a little bit. But as RPI has said it themselves, they understood that coming tonight, it was going to be a tough match. They understood that this is not the same team that won ECAC last split back in spring, but that's their goal. They bow out now, but they will come back stronger in spring, and they will make nationals as their goal.
We'll see the prospects for them. And as far as ECAC this split, but they've got loftier ambitions. And speaking of lofty ambitions, Army West Point, after a hard-fought rock fight of a series, they take down Rensselaer Polytechnic, and they move on to face Columbia College, the 1 seed, undefeated in the quarterfinals. GG's, thank y'all so much for being here. Thank you to Colton, thank you to Ebrom, our producers, and the rest of the team at ECAC, the other stream as well. We got Yanni and Chibi putting on a great show. Thank you to RMC, my color caster. Always a pleasure with you, my friend. For everyone I've mentioned, I have been 4y4. Thank y'all for watching. Have a great rest of your Friday night.